Today's show is brought to you by Lovable.
Here we go.
Hey everyone. We know many of you are hurting today after the sudden passing of Grandmaster Daniel Naroditzki. Our deepest condolences and thoughts go out to the Naroditzki family, his friends, and to everyone who was inspired by him. Daniel was an important figure in chess. He was an author, he was a teacher, he was of course a player, he was a content creator, a commentator, and his impact on chess has been massive. And he was also a friend to you, David. How will you remember Daniel?
Yeah, I must admit, I'm still in shock. Yeah, I mean, I just don't want it to be true. I want to wake up and for him to be there. I was very lucky that I got to commentate alongside Daniel many times. We worked together, we hung out, we played Blitz in person, online, more times than I can remember. He was such a fine, just gentle, funny, multi-talented human, and it's life isn't fair. It's just I've never met anyone who loves chess as much as him and is so passionate, and it just feels like chess is a slightly less bright place today. But I'm gonna focus on the many wonderful memories that he left us with. Yeah.
Thank you, David. I know this is difficult to you. It's a difficult day to be a guest on the chess show as well. We have John Sargent here today. A fellow chess commentator to you, how will you remember Daniel?
Yeah, I followed Daniel for quite a while, but I didn't really work with him until sort of about this time last year. And I think one of the things I'm really going to take away the most about Daniel is I was coming into a scene that I'd been a part of for a very long time. I was very nervous, massive imposter syndrome, and being on my first broadcast with Daniel, I think it was at the Olympiad, within about 20 seconds of talking with him pre-show, he just made me feel completely at ease. I completely forgot almost where I was. There was no ego involved. He was so good at being inclusive and cheerful, and he was so infectious with his energy. And that's, I don't think I've ever been more comfortable working with someone on camera as quickly as I was with Daniel. His enthusiasm wasn't just on camera. Like, you could see the following that he had and the sheer number of new people he brought to the game of chess, and we're all hurting today. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Now, before we begin, we want to invite all of you at home to join us for 1 minute of silence in memory of Daniel Naroditzki, who passed away at only 29 years old. Thank you, everyone. Daniel, he was a regular competitor in Title Tuesday. His incredible skills in Blitz chess earned him 5 Title Tuesday victories. And we are now going to focus on chess, and we welcome you to Title Tuesday, Gameweek 8.
Like Farouz is almost getting it done on the board, should still be a draw. He's losing now suddenly.
He's throwing a thorn into the white side, holding on here for dear life. The nerves are kicking in.
He's playing with Ghost, afraid to commit.
Did he lose on time?
The clock is his worst enemy right now. Oh, look at this. He's trapped his own king in the corner. The black rook is hit as well.
Whoa, is this a blunder?
checkmate is coming.
Well, let's see which environment Magnus Carlsen, the reigning winner from Gameweek 7, plays from today. Welcome to the Take studio. As always, we have our regular pundit Grandmaster David Howell here and our guest today, John Sargent. And you guys, you know each other actually very well. You even have a history of being mixed up.
I'll let you take it, John.
Including by some of the people that are closest to both of us, I think. At the Esports World Cup, I genuinely think I had two different people say, "Oh, I passed you in the corridor and thought you were David," later on. So my brother from another mother. Good to be back in the studio with you, David.
Yeah, likewise. And I even sent a photo from the Esports World Cup to my girlfriend, and she was like, "You look great," but I wasn't in the photo.
It was John.
Yeah, it was John. And great to be reunited.
It's fantastic to have both of you here. John, I was asking you, like, do I announce you as a chess player? Or do I announce you as a commentator, an esports commentator? You were originally a chess player, but your background over the last decade and even more has been a lot into esports commentary and hosting.
It has. I've sort of been a little bit all over the shop.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it all. I've been playing chess since I was about 5-6 years old. Wow. And I got into esports commentary in 2010. And I actually played chess in the evenings as a way to cool off, as a way to escape from that sort of thing. So it was a little surprise when worlds collided, and I sort of came back into commentating some of the big events starting from last year. I've done chess on and off for the last 12 years, but I'm mostly an over-the-board event organizer these days rather than playing. Unfortunately, my skill in over-the-board chess has diminished even from the levels it was then, which wasn't that high, but is hopefully good enough to be able to spot the odd skewer or fork in today's broadcast.
You must be so excited, though, to see that chess is becoming more and more of an esport as well. You guys were commentating on the Esports World Cup together. What was that experience like?
So there are two different answers I want to give, and one is it was just so surreal. It was lovely to walk down the boulevard in Riyadh and be able to say, hey, we're here now. This is the experience that we're having. I've got a funny anecdote to share later about how I got David to be my cameraman briefly, although I have to say, he was sweating buckets. It was like the first day we were there. It was fantastic. But on the other hand, there is a big part of me that is honestly saying it's about damn time. The potential has been there for so long. Chess streaming and broadcasting has come a long way, but the potential and the infrastructure to build what we now have has actually been there for the last 5 or 6 years. There's been no major breakthrough that has said, oh, this technology has enabled us to do it. Actually, we've been brewing for quite a while, and we're now starting to see a lot of it come to fruition. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. And Title Tuesday is all about qualifying for the Esports World Cup. There are 13 spots in total. Magnus Carlsen, as the reigning champion, is already qualified. And then the top 3 players from the Speed Chess Championship and the top 3 from Chess.com Global Championship will each go directly to Riyadh next summer. And every week in Title Tuesday, the top 10 players score points in the Champions Chess Tour. And at the end of the season, it is the top 6 players in the Champions Chess Tour that qualifies for the Esports World Cup. And let's take a look at the current Champions Chess Tour leaderboard. Magnus Carlsen is on top with 33 points, and since he is already qualified, it means it's the 6 players below him, and we have some huge names on that list. Remember, this is also the leaderboard in Title Tuesday Split 1. Magnus Carlsen in a great place to win Title Tuesday Split 1, David.
Yeah, Magnus, he's looking relaxed, he's looking happy, and it's showing in his chess right now. Last week, he was extremely impressive. His other wins earlier in the split, just very dominant. So when he's on fire, he's the one to beat. He's the hard man to stop.
He is. 5 minutes to go until Game Week 8 starts. We don't see Magnus's name on the list yet, but Hikaru is there. He missed last week due to traveling. Hikaru is back on that list. Now, players obviously fighting for glory every single Tuesday. Who will win Game Week 8? But that is not the only thing they are fighting for, because we keep score of country standings as well. Players are also fighting for their country's top 5 players every single week score points for their country. And right now, it is Russia on top, scoring 59 points, USA in second place. But to see Poland there, John, in third place, a smaller country with not that many superstars in chess.
Yeah, that's very, very strong. Very happy to see them there, of course. But if you asked me blind what countries are on the short list for being in third place, I would be thinking, how's France doing?
Yeah.
I'm surprised India's not up there, for example. Ukraine's also a good shout. So very well done to the Polish players there for being here in third place. That's a very strong result.
Yeah. Missing England on the list, David. I guess that's because you're not playing.
David's here.
That's my excuse. That's my excuse. But this is a shout out to anyone from England or from other countries you don't see in the top 10 here, to encourage your favorite players to play, to encourage more title players to take part. We want to make this bigger. We want to see a real competition between many other countries who are unrepresented on this list.
Exactly. Norway as well, not on the list, even if Magnus keeps scoring a lot of points. He's won 3 game weeks so far, but he needs his fellow Norwegians to compete, to play, to score points every single week. We now see also Jan Nepomniachtchi has joined for game week 8. Duda is on that list, fighting not only for himself, but also for Poland. 233 players joining so far, getting ready for game week 8. We are waiting for Magnus Carlsen. He's hopefully going to play. He's hopefully going to play from the take offices as well. We do have a guest streamer, though, playing from the Dave Cave. His name is Elham. He's a Norwegian grandmaster at only 20 years old, and he is ready to stream. He is ready to play. Actually, Title Tuesday for the first time in Split 1. And David, let's talk about power rankings. Let's talk about which players to look out for this week. Who have you chosen?
Yeah, so as usual, we highlight 3 players that we're keen to follow. Magnus has to start because he was the winner of last week's Title Tuesday in game week 7. 96, I've given him an overall score there. He's the benchmark. He's one of the top players. And one of his rivals in the meantime, Hikaru Nakamura at 95. I'm going to say slightly lower overall here in the power rankings. Magnus has won so many World Blitz titles, but Hikaru, of course, is the record holder in Title Tuesdays. It's nice to see him back. And finally, not least though, Elham Amar. And he, at 82, is a dangerous player. He's rated over 3,100 on Chess.com right now in Blitz, which is incredible. But he's yet to prove his pedigree against the very best in this type of format.
I think it's interesting that you have him on the list because he is a grandmaster, definitely. He is a great chess player, but he's not that high rated in FIDE standard rating. But when you see him in online Blitz on Chess.com, he is top 50 in the world. He is a player that can win Title Tuesday. And for him to see Title Tuesday becoming a part of even the Esports World Cup, seeing new tournaments in chess must be fantastic and something that inspires him.
Exactly. This whole generation in their teens now, in their early 20s, they're getting so many opportunities to kind of make chess a viable career. And if Elham can go on and do well in Title Tuesday, get to Esports World Cup, that would be life-changing for him. I've seen him play over the board Blitz as well. One of the quickest kind of speed of thought that you'll see out there. Super intuitive player.
How are you in speed chess, John?
Over the board?
Over the board or online?
I think I need more practice over the board. I'm absolutely amazed at how people can... It feels like hitting the clock and getting the piece to slide to its correct square is just one fluid motion, and that seems to save people a quarter of a second every time they manage to... The repetition and practice there is absolutely amazing. Yeah. I'm a lot better at time management online than I sure.
Well, we're definitely going to keep an eye on Elham today, one of the young Norwegians who is an expert in the format. We now see Magnus Carlsen has joined, and we are getting ready for game week 8. Let's kick it off, you guys.
Ooh. And watch out, the bishop's coming to skewer the 2 black rooks.
Oh.
Duda, he painted himself into a corner there. Any moment now, that clock is turning to 0, and it's surely going to be game over. He gives up his knight archer Naroditzki, but he wins on time. Now the black knight is coming back.
Oh.
Ooh, and this pawn's dropping. Among other things, the rook comes in instead.
He leans back. Magnus takes the win. Magnus doesn't go for the draw. And he's blundered. Magnus Carlsen. Why is that a mistake? It's a check. Where is the win for Salem? It's a check. Magnus has missed this one.
Oh, he sees it now.
He's getting mated.
Magnus had a great game week 7. He won it with a score of 10.5 points. And he's back today. Can he win back-to-back? Pairings coming in for round 1. And Magnus will start with the black pieces against Hikaru, a player that we don't know that well. That's going to be the first round. Hikaru will start with the white pieces. We will start following Magnus Carlsen. He is playing from his streaming room, but he's not there. Where is Magnus? It seems the moves are coming in.
Wow, the invisible man. That should be his new username on Chess.com.
You know, when people say you're really good when you've got a good gaming chair, I mean, that is the ultimate. Like the pieces are moving themselves. That was incredible. Oh my goodness.
That is incredible commercial for a secret lab.
Right?
All right. Well, the game has apparently started. David, what are we seeing on this board?
Yeah, it's early days here, but we've seen a bit of a hybrid Sicilian. Here, Magnus Carlsen with black. He's gone for what I'm going to call the Dragodorf. It's a mixture between the Sicilian Dragon and the Sicilian Najdorf. Two very distinct variations. Black has fianchettoed his bishop. White has gone for the open variation. So nice open center, quick early exchange of pawns. But so far looking very balanced. Eval bar even says slightly better for Magnus because he's got his pieces on nice squares and white is a bit congested in the center.
And then typical themes here, David. Like we've got the queen coming up to d2 now. So I feel like it's a matter of time before that dark squared bishop slides up to h6. Already has done. Black counterattacking on the queen side. The chances of this game being a draw, a little bit lower than usual.
Fully agree. Still early days, but Magnus is the master of these types of middle games. With white, with black, he loves this pawn structure.
Patrick Hikaru is his opponent here with the white pieces playing for Poland. We know Poland in 3rd place on the country standings in Split 1. He's only 16 years old, a FIDE master with a FIDE rating of 2292. But on Chess.com, he is well above 2600 in online blitz chess, calling himself Batman 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Batman is up against Magnus Carlsen in round 1, and he's better on the bar.
He's better on the bar, and Magnus, I'm not sure he should have gone for that last trade. He traded off the light squared bishops, where previously white's light squared bishop was a bit of a bad piece. Magnus now, at least according to the bar, slightly worse due to this white knight that's going to land in the center, putting serious pressure against the base of black's pawn chain. This pawn in the center here, defended. But soon the white queen might lift herself up. At some point, the white pawns might start pushing forward. The black king is all on its own on that right half of the board. I smell danger here.
And if you're playing with the black pieces here as well, you're trying to also resist, well, I was going to say resist, but it's been played on the board, moves like e5, because now the base of the pawn chain is potentially a little bit more open to attack, but clearly not something Magnus is fearing here.
Yeah, not fearing. He's not the type of player who'll ever really back down. Magnus even sat in the studio last week and said the only time he ever loses is because he neglects his king safety. So he's very aware of his maybe slight weakness, at least relative for such an incredible player. But he's taking big, big chances here. He's allowing the white queen to step up a couple of squares, give a nasty check if desired. Eval bar says slightly better for white, but it's pretty much a case of delivering checkmate. Otherwise, Magnus might get the opponent later on by going pawn hunting.
This is round 1 in Title Tuesday Game Week 8. Every single game week consists of 11 rounds, and the time control, 5 minutes for each player, no increment. And that's something you're used to now from the Esports World Cup. John, do you like the format of no increment?
That's such a tricky question to answer. I think I would say for the viewers, it's incredibly exciting. For the players, it's stressful because I think at the highest level, the percentage of games, to be fair, where you're winning but you get flagged, it happens, but it's quite rare. And by removing increment, that percentage has gone up a bit. The players are never going to you don't want to be in a winning position and lose on time. You're going to feel like you've been robbed of a point. From a viewership perspective, almost just peak excitement.
Yeah, exactly.
There can be no compare.
And that is what Title Tuesday is about now. Title Tuesday is an old phenomenon. It's been on Chess.com for many, many, many years. And it's been a product for the players mostly. But this year, we're trying to make it a little bit more of a fan product. And 5+0 is one of the things we do for that.
Yeah, and in the meantime, very dangerous position for Magnus. He's got to guard against this pawn dropping. That could spell the end for the Black King. Checkmate in the air. So he needs to do something drastic to either protect that pawn, go on the counter. White's king isn't totally safe in the corner here. No back rank problems since White took a timeout to create a escape square. But look at this, Magnus. Look, he's trying to give up a rook here, but he's staring down at this white rook with his queen. So if there are a bunch of captures, if White takes both the black rooks off the board, we would find ourselves in a queen endgame. Something Magnus is fantastic at, although objectively it looks like this should be heading towards a draw. It's been fantastic play so far by his young opponent.
Rikic is so far doing quite well, and he must be nervous. 16 years old, up against the best player in the world, but I have to say, he looks calm on the camera. He looks focused. Do you think he can win this game, John?
I think it's very difficult for Magnus to create a game-losing mistake here, but I feel like potentially being able to hold him to a draw is certainly something Rikic can do. The thing I'm most worried about is the fact that he's about to go almost a minute down on the clock. 2 minutes 42 plays a minute 50 when there's no increment is fairly big, especially when queens are still on the board.
Exactly, that's the one thing that could trip him up. And a bit of a grimace there by Rikic as he makes a mistake, apparently. Magnus suddenly much better. That is because White's king suddenly becomes the weaker of the two. White's king only has 2 pawns for shelter, as the Black King has 3. Some checks in the air now. The Black Rook heading down to the bottom right. Can be blocked by the White Rook, but this has not been a step in the right direction. Magnus is about to win a pawn, and he's going to get fantastic chances to grind this out, especially with that clock advantage that John mentioned.
Yeah, and now when you're also a pawn down, the way Magnus is able to, let's be honest, he finds a way to get blood out of a stone, Magnus. So if he's also got a pawn on the board, there has to be a fairly substantial mistake now for Rikic to find a foothold in this game. There's a difference between holding on for a draw and then just avoiding the loss. And right now, I think you can almost see that mindset shift.
We do have a huge upset in round 1. Hikaru Nakamura has lost in round 1 to, well, it is an international master from Russia. Maxim Shekashikin has beat Hikaru Nakamura in round 1. So a bad start for Hikaru here.
And that's a online blitz, admittedly, but that's a rating difference of something like 500-600 points. That is a huge upset. I don't think we can understate that.
Yeah, it was just a one-move blunder from Hikaru. Rare to see him lose with White in 28 moves. And maybe we'll see a reaction later. Maybe we'll see Hikaru do the Swiss gambit, lose round 1, win the rest, and storm back. In the meantime, Magnus is on the brink of winning here. He's won a second pawn. His opponent's down under the 1 minute mark. It's going to be the A pawn later that decides this game. He's going to sidetrack the White Queen. All he needs to do is avoid a perpetual check. You don't necessarily want to calculate ideas like the White Queen coming in behind, causing your king some problems. So still some work, but Magnus, he's going to slowly walk his king out into the center, where actually, counterintuitively, it might feel safest. He gives some checks, getting closer to the White King now. He's going to try and take the final white pawn with a check. It's looking very close to that victory. Typical Magnus style.
Yeah. I mean, what I would say is that when you do have those queens on the board, it can always be very scary, very devastating, where a single misstep can swing the game wildly either way, which is why Magnus is choosing to very slowly massage the position to a point where he's 3 pawns up, and there's literally no way, even with a medium-sized blunder, he would still comfortably win this.
And there we go. Magnus takes the win with a forced queen exchange at the end. A very confident win there.
Yeah.
World number 1.
Great start for Magnus. With the black pieces, Rikic, he runs off after that loss. Great start for Magnus. And we know his biggest rival, Hikaru Nakamura, has lost in round 1 in a big upset against an international master. All right, the results are coming in. It is a win for Lazovic. It is a win for Jan Nepomniachtchi. Magzodlo has won his round 1 game. I cannot see any other huge upsets here on this list. Jan Christoph Duda, a win for him as well in round 1.
Yeah, Hikaru, he's been supporting his wife at the US Championships.
Yeah.
Nice to see him there, showing up, trying to kind of help her get a successful campaign. He's been very busy trying to qualify for the candidates, but Yeah, still got to count as a big shock. I don't remember him ever losing in round one this early in the tournament.
Black wins on the top 3 boards as well, which is perhaps notable here.
Yeah.
Not something that you necessarily see every day in any tournament, let alone Title Tuesday. So interesting stuff.
Interesting stuff, Magnus, with the black pieces here. Now, every single week we do the opening poll for Magnus on social media. You guys at home can cast your vote and decide one opening that Magnus has said yes to playing every single week. And today's winner is the Nimzo Larsen attack, 1b3. That was not, well, now he had the black pieces, of course, in this game. Let's see if Magnus plays this at some point today.
Why was F3 not one of the options?
Is that your favorite?
It is not my favorite, but...
Your favorite to watch.
It is very clear that if F3 was on the poll, it would have won.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Round 1 is rounding up, you guys. We still have a couple games going on. A bunch of players, obviously, on 1 point. And we do see Magnus up there, but we don't see Hikaru Nakamura on that list. He did lose in round 1. We know he is focusing on commentating also on the US Championship. And he must also be affected by the news about Daniel Naroditzki. He did do a stream about that yesterday, and it seemed they were close as well. So that is, of course, something that can affect Hikaru today. Round 2 is about to start. Magnus Carlsen will have the white pieces against Rogo, Lazovic against Wietic, Nepo will have the black pieces against Dang. We will follow Magnus with the white pieces, or will we follow Hikaru? Yeah, Magnus.
Yeah, Magnus for now. We'll check in on Hikaru, see if he can start charging, making a bit of a surge from behind now. Magnus opens with the English opening, not getting the memo yet about 1b3, but of course he can do that at any time in this tournament. Very early days here. He played the Sicilian in game 1 with black. It's basically a reverse Sicilian here. You put a pawn out on the c-file, you fianchetto your bishop, and there we go. He's played this even in World Championship matches, so something that Magnus has relied upon and very successfully in the past.
He's up against a FIDE master from Russia. Rogo is Magnus's opponent here in this round, and Magnus coming from a win. Is this an opening you would like to play, John?
I'm more of an e4 player myself, but a reasonable number of my games transpose to variations thereof. So I look at the pawn structure and I go, you know what, I'm fairly comfortable with this. I play the Sicilian with black, for better or for worse, depending on if you take a look at my game history. And one thing I would say is, regardless of result, I thoroughly enjoy playing these kinds of positions, because even if the pawn structures look similar sometimes, you get lots of piece activity, lots of chances to create imbalances in the middle game. And it's not just, oh, let's just whittle things down and play an endgame. It's very much, let's keep things dynamic, let's keep things fresh.
Yeah, and talking of dynamic, Magnus is taking some risks. He's worse, according to Eval Bar, much worse now.
Wow.
Rogov here has an advantage, and that's because the black bishop is going to appear on this square. From there, it's going to cut along this diagonal, preventing the white king from castling in the foreseeable future. That's a very, very strong move, as we see Magnus's opponent appear. And where's the white king going? Long term, it's an issue. Short term, it's definitely an issue too. This has been substandard last few moves from Magnus. It's not gone well. And if black can keep the queens on, it's going to get even more dangerous.
Wow. All right. Well, we have Matvey Rogo joining us on camera, 18 years old, and he is very good in online blitz chess with a rating of well above 2,800.
He's got Magnus's hairstyle as well.
Oh, that's well spotted.
That's got to be worth at least 150 rating points.
He's got the hair game going for him.
Very strong.
Yeah, very strong.
So in this position, I love that. White wants to swap the queens off so that not being able to castle is less of a thing. And Rogov here is very obviously trying to keep the queens on as long as possible, trying to keep things complicated, and trying to just bring more pieces to bear. I guess you have a choice almost, David. If you have this free tempo, for example, with the queen, do you use it to castle, or do you use it to hop in further? Is a knight coming in? Are we going to start seeing a bishop improve its position further and really entrench itself in white's position? Black has options here.
Black has a lot of options. You're 100% right there. And Magnus eventually decides to give a check. The black king could even move, I was going to say, vacating a square for the rook. Apparently not the best. Black could also have dropped the bishop back to block, but finding himself in a pin wasn't so attractive there for Rogov. And I Okay, Magnus is giving up a pawn. I'm not sure you want to take this one. There might be some tactics in the air. The black queen might be kicked to some awkward squares, but it's got to be tempting. At the very minimum, you start by bringing your rook across, gaining some time and staring down at the white king. Magnus is actually hinting that he wants to go the long side with his king, but that does not look safe at all. This is a huge, huge risk that Magnus is taking right now.
Cool game. Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces. Remember, 5 minutes on the clock, no increment, and Rogo is about to tick under 3 minutes on the clock. But it's looking good for him on the board so far.
Looking good, and he's definitely calculating what happens if you take this pawn. That is the most ambitious move, but it could backfire. The white pieces will gain time trying to trap that black queen. Other moves that come to mind, John, what would you be thinking of here as black?
Well, my blitz brain didn't want to play the rook move. I wanted to take the pawn because maybe I'm a little too materialistic for my own good. But with the idea being, because the light squared bishop is covering the square in front of the king, if the rook comes out to attack, you might be able to play black queen to c2, and then you've got some really scary mating threats. But because the rook's come out and Magnus has actually put his queen on f5, that wasn't possible anymore.
Wow, I think Magnus might have just mouse slipped. Magnus has just moved his king across one square. There's no explanation for that move.
No.
Is that... I'm trying to read into it. I think he wanted to castle queenside. He wanted to put his king across, defending this pawn, getting his rook into the game. Now he's desperately trying to scramble to get his king to safety. He's trying to trade off black's very strong bishop, but this is Magnus in huge, huge trouble. That white king is going to be weak for the rest of the game, and Rogov's doing everything right so far. Watch out, this black knight has got targets, weak pawns. He plays it, he finds the best move, and the white king is in so much danger. Magnus has been out of sorts this whole game so far.
Why do you see that it's a mouse slip and not a blunder?
I think there was just no way
It's both.
It's both, exactly. There's no way he didn't intend to castle queenside. There's no reason the white king is better on this square, cutting off the rook from the action in the corner. And yeah, you're going to feel real pain in the near future if black plays his cards right. I'm not sure whether you can take this because the white king will move, hitting the knight, and the black queen is under fire as well. Some serious calculation needs to be done, but he goes for it. I think he's calculated a checkmating sacrifice if the white king comes across, starting with rook takes pawn, blowing open the center. That is devastating. So Magnus has to go the other way. Now he's just a pawn down, dead, lost position.
Wow, we could be about to see a huge upset for Magnus Carlsen in round 2 against an 18-year-old FIDE master.
Now, black queen still under attack. A minute 23 plays 2 minutes 44. If I know anything about Magnus, it's that it looks devastatingly lost. He's probably not favorite to win the game anymore, but he's come back from worse than this.
That is true. I think the clock is by far his biggest hope. Not necessarily to win on time, but at least to provoke a mistake from his young opponent. There we go. Already trying to turn the momentum, trying to gain some time by hitting the black rook. That bishop is captured, though. The black bishop will appear on this nice long diagonal very, very shortly. And another weak pawn. The problem for Magnus is he's got a weak king. He's got a rook trapped in the corner. He's got weak pawns everywhere. And his knight on the rim, not so dim for now, but could find itself in a bit of trouble. Yeah, everything adds up.
And this sequence of moves, okay, both players technically have a rook in the corner, but the idea now is that black should be able to get his rook out a little bit faster by playing the bishop out. There's an opportunity to play the king back across. We're repeating once, and 40 seconds now. I think Magnus is now evens to come out with this game.
Wow, and Magnus doesn't repeat. He could have forced a draw there, as John mentioned, by bringing his queen across. That would have been the third time we've seen this position. Magnus knows he's got a lost position here, but he's playing for time. That is so, so brave. Will it backfire, though? Wow. And things are going wrong for Rogov. He's clearly panicking. He's self-pinned here. Magnus is back. He's alive.
Oh, the bar is swinging in Magnus Carlsen's favor. He is 2 minutes up on the clock. Rogo, 22 seconds left, but much better on the bar.
Oof, this is massive risk by Magnus. He brings his queen up one square, though. He's giving back the pawn now, Rogov. And yeah, it's just about the kings. Whose king is weaker? That is the big question. For now, I'm assuming it's white. And look at this. All the right moves. 16 seconds, but he's doing everything perfectly. The rooks are invading on the second rank now. White's king is cut off. The rook in the corner trapped. Look out. The black queen is threatening some nasty checks. That's checkmate. Magnus has blundered. Checkmate in 2 moves. King across. is the kiss of death. The Black Queen is coming in. Rogov wins.
Whoa, huge upset for Magnus Carlsen. He loses with the white pieces in round 2 to 18-year-old Matvey Rogov from Russia. What a win for the young Russian. He beats the best player in the world. And already a loss for Magnus. Hikaru Nakamura, he lost in round 1. Huge upset there. He has made a comeback to win in round 2, but losses for both Magnus and Hikaru so far. This is Denis Lazovic, better with the white pieces.
Better with the white pieces. It's level material. We're jumping into what is pretty much an endgame now, but the reason white is better is because this black pawn in the center is a big, big target. Also, look at the clocks. We see the first red clock as we tick here, who beat Hikaru Nakamura a few weeks ago. He desperately tries to scramble to simplify the position. He's given up a pawn. He's forced the knights off. But Lazovic, such a calm player. He's targeting these pawns, and he has a majority on both sides of the board. And there we go. He wins by resignation because his opponent knew 4 seconds, not enough.
All right, that's 2 out of 2 for Lazovic. And he is one of many players now on a perfect score so far on a day where the 2 biggest favorites have both already lost. Huge upset there for Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, very dramatic turn of events there. In the first couple of rounds, we had Hikaru losing and then Magnus losing. You could tell he was really trying to put pressure on his opponent on the clock as well. That much was very obvious, but a lot of the simplifications you could even see in the eval bar immediately favored his opponent. And when I think the game ended something like 2 minutes versus 15 seconds. So Magnus maybe could have used a couple more seconds to maybe keep the light squared bishops on the board or something like that. And I think once Rogov saw the opportunity with the major pieces to finish off, he did not think twice. He couldn't afford to think twice at that point. He had 15 seconds on the clock to Magnus's 2 minutes.
Wow. Wow. Is this the day, David, where we could see sort of like an underdog winner, anyone else than Magnus and Hikaru?
Definitely. The players in Title Tuesday, they'll have half an eye on the standings and they'll be like, where's Magnus, where's Hikaru? That opens things up, that gives them extra motivation, extra focus. And yeah, I'm in shock a bit. I mean, it's been a strange 24 hours and Magnus now losing with white in that style. He could have bailed out for a draw earlier. Yeah, it's a day of surprises.
I would say, though, like a lot of the time, not just in chess, but in, I don't know, TV shows, cartoons, you name it, you've just made them angry. And there's a real danger now where we just see 8 wins in a row from Magnus or Hikaru. Yeah. And let's be honest, none of us are going to be surprised if that happens at this point. So by no means write anybody off yet.
Exactly. We're only 2 rounds into it, total of 11 rounds to be played in game week 8, and round 3 is about to start. Nepo is up there with 2 points. Lazovic is up there with 2 points. Our guest streamer today in the Dave Cave, Ella Mamar, is also on 2 out of 2 so far. But who are we going to follow now in round 3? It's Spar against Lazovic, 2 top players.
Yeah, 2 very strong players. We've seen Spar against some of the other top players here in Title Tuesday in previous weeks. Lazovic, we just saw him. Very nice endgame technique in the previous game. And early days here, it's the Roy Lopez, the Spanish opening, as the white bishop coming out, making a bit of a journey, provoking some weaknesses in the black camp. Sooner or later, white will try and strike in the center, and this will enter very, very well-known waters. This is very classical stuff, showing mutual respect, both players playing their A-list repertoire here. This is the plan for white. In the meantime, black might be thinking about breaking out himself.
Yeah. Denis Lazovic is a 19-year-old grandmaster from Belarus, and he is exceptionally good in Title Tuesday. He's won it 12 times, and he is on 2 out of 2 points so far today with the black pieces here in this game.
And I think what's telling there is, in order to win an event like Title Tuesday, and 12 times, like you say, it's not just about having the rating online and being able to beat your opponent over the board. There will come a point today, and there is a point every Title Tuesday, where scoreboard pressure starts to get to you a bit. If you're a point behind, or even if you're ahead of the field and you're trying to preserve a half a point lead, being able to not lose your edge under pressure and don't resist the urge to play conservatively when you don't have to and stuff like that. Lazovic is very good at maintaining his mental composure and not giving in to those sort of temptations, where many other players, I'm sure, would be very tempted to try and preserve something when it could actually be even better.
Yeah, that's my biggest weakness, John, in chess. Very, very kind of inclined towards being conservative.
Hey, I wish that was my biggest weakness. Don't you worry about that.
Well, yeah, as you say, Lazovic doesn't tilt. He's very focused, very in tune with the positions. If it comes time to just fight for a draw, he'll fight for a draw. If he gets a chance to press, he'll do the same. I am a bit worried about Spa's clock here. Still very early days. Nothing major has happened. There's still yet to be a clash between the two armies. Yet somehow he's a minute and a half down as we see him appear. Looks like he's streaming.
Yeah.
Talking into the microphone. Yeah, early days, but the clock does worry me.
Milos Spar from Poland, a grandmaster at 23 years old, rated on FIDE at 2,500. But on Chess.com, you guys, in Online Blitz, almost 3,000. He is exceptionally great in this format, and he loves Title Tuesday. He's playing all game weeks. This is the 8th time we see him in Split 1.
We see the first exchange of minor pieces, bishops coming off. The eval bar says slightly better for black because black will be the one to conquer the center and connect 4. And yeah, it just feels like white's attack fizzling out. This looks very good for Denis Lazovic right now.
I wanted to ask you a question about that actually, David, because well, not this exact position, but I play the Roy Lopez myself. And rule number 1 always is don't give up the light squared bishop. So when that was the first minor piece off the board for white, I was sat here thinking, unless there's an immediate tactic on the board, what am I missing here?
You're not missing anything, I think, is the answer. Tactics were the idea. That's the only reason that white knight would post up, but it's fighting a battle on its own. And wow, stepping back where it just came from, that is not a good sign. Retreat mode, 2 minutes down.
What's the alternative? Like, is that knight just repositioning to e4, hopefully, and there's something a bit more active coming by? But with f5 on the cards, I'm a little bit worried that that's not quick enough.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there were no good alternatives, and that's what they say, in a bad position, there are no good moves. Essentially, he's just waiting. Sooner or later, the black knight might land in the center.
Yep.
Sooner or later, black might just build that f5 move you mentioned, gain even more space. Already on the queen side, controlling a lot of squares. He could do the same on both flanks.
Now, I'll ask the dangerous question here. If white's retreating knights on the king side of the board, things aren't quite going to plan over here. You do have that open A file. Does white have enough time to mount any sort of attack, stacking the rooks on the A file and taking it from there?
Yes. I'm going to say skeptically yes.
Skeptically, yes. Okay.
The thing is, there aren't so many invasion points, and right now, white's rook has access to only 1 square in the black camp. This can be evicted by one of the black knights, for example, maybe even coming forward.
Oh.
And there we see play is actually switching towards the center, towards the king side. The white knights, I quite like what he's done with them. He's got a very juicy outpost to sit on near the black king now, Spar, but it might not save him if the clock continues to tick as ominously down as it has been doing. Denis Lazovic's weighing up when to break, how to break in the center. His pieces look so perfectly centralized for black, but he's still biding his time for now. He knows he doesn't need to rush Denis Lazovic.
See, the chess player in me wants to say that, Kaya, this is a fantastic example of, I do wish we had a little bit of increment, because the Roy Lopez player in me is going, this is actually really interesting. How is white going to be able to execute these ideas? Oh, he might not, because it's a minute and a half, place 3.5.
Yeah, he is on trouble on the clock, Milos Spar. 1.5 minutes left against Denis Lazovic. More than 3 minutes, and Lazovic is known to be one of the fastest players in online chess.
Yeah, very fast, very decisive. Ooh. White now suddenly much better. He's won a pawn in that little transaction there. He grabbed 2 pawns with the white queen. The black rook has just captured 1 back, so white is up a pawn. And, he goes passive. That's not a good sign.
What was
Normally,
the move?
Top players want to go active. Maybe there, John, was your idea of counterattacking, trying to hit that black knight.
Whoa.
Finally, the white rook would have had some backup. That looks like it might have been the way forward. Instead, this white rook is not so happy just defending its mere bishop.
I'll tell you what, though, leaving the bishop hanging like that, I think the best way I would have described that decision would be emotional. I'm not sure I could bring myself to play that move on the chessboard.
Yeah, that was difficult, especially with just 1 minute left. But we continue. He's still better. He's still up a pawn. There were other moves in the position too. Denis Lazovic now is trying to fight back by creating a pin on the c file. I was going to say this pawn is pinned, so this move probably not possible, but he's so desperate at the 1 minute mark to try and simplify that he rushes forward. And look at this, it's another sacrifice, only short term though. If there are trades, then At the very end, the white queen will be able to retake this knight and get closer to the black king. That's very, very clever. But there's so much to calculate here. Surely he doesn't have enough time.
Conceptually, the thing I'm struggling to resolve with this position is white's using the pieces that are attacking the enemy king, and through these trades, trading them off for pieces that aren't necessarily directly defending. So from that logic alone, it feels like the attack's fizzling out a bit.
It does, although apparently black has only one move to keep the balance, and that is to capture one of the white knights. It's a bit of a 50-50. It's to capture this knight. It wasn't played, and suddenly the bar, much, much better for white again. So many good moves in this position, but one, maybe the most attractive for me, would be to bring the knight forward, hit this black rook, and also cut the connect. He plays it, very natural move. He cuts the connection between the black queen and this pawn. He's going to be a pawn up, 2 pawns up even, with a big attack.
Wow. Much better now on the VAR, Milos Bar, less than 1 minute on the clock. We have seen wins for Magnus. We have seen wins for Hikaru in round 3. The top dogs are back. It's all about winning this game now for these two players, both on 2 out of 2 points heading into round 3.
But don't forget, 40 seconds plays a minute and a half. That's got to be worth a pawn or two as well, right?
Wow,
so it is absolutely not straightforward at all. Those knights are complete menaces. But now they're in danger of being completely swapped off. So the question is, can he convert after this gets simplified?
Whoa. We've just seen a crazy move. Queen to f5. This knight can capture the queen.
Very cute.
This is very tricky. The idea is that the black knight is pinned, so the white rook will get to the top of the board and slide behind with a checkmating idea. That is very, very tricky. And now the black knight can actually capture the queen. Maybe he's contemplating taking this rook instead, but that will walk into all sorts of discovered checks, double checks. This is wild. 25 seconds. Good luck calculating this.
Would you take the queen?
I probably would have done, but I'm not as brave a player as Spar here, clearly. And he's taken a knight, a check. Wow, I'm struggling to get the words out because this is such a crazy position. He gives up his queen in a different way. And now rook takes rook, check. It's been a blunder. It's rook and 2 pieces versus just a queen. Not just that, but the black pawn is going to win this game if white isn't careful.
Blundering in huge time trouble here, Milos Bar. Denis Lazovic could be about to win this game.
Oh, I think he just missed that the black pawn was going to decide this one. Sneaky threat of checkmate. This can be blocked, though. It can be prevented by the black rook, which is now going to slide behind its pawn. New queen. Game over. Denis Lazovic's going to get the win.
Will it be on the clock or will it be on the board? We see the red clock for Spar is ticking to 0, and it is a win for Denis Lazovic in a crazy game. That eval bar jumped back and forth. Was it eventually the clock that got to Milos Bar?
Yeah, it definitely was the clock. Really cunning play from Denis Lazovic to practical kind of gambles at some point. To sacrifice his queen in multiple different moves, and I think he deserved it. But Spar, so close from an upset.
Yeah. But another point for Denis Lazovic to go up to 3 out of 3. We also see Elham Amar, the guest streamer from Norway in the Dave Cave today, on 3 out of 3. Meanwhile, Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura, they are both on 2 out of 3. They lost 1 game, but both of them won in round 3. And Magnus has entered the building. Here he is. Magnus Carlsen is in the take offices. He is streaming from his 2882 streaming room. And we talked about Magnus here. Very nice today.
I need to ask a question about him arriving in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Did he play around from his phone on touchscreen? Like, is that how he... Because how otherwise do you get here during the break between 2 games? Has he just done that on touchscreen?
I have no idea.
What?
We'll have to ask him afterwards.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get an interview, find out how Magnus was doing that. Maybe he just always carries a computer with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, he is known for arriving very last minute.
Fashionably
late.
Exactly.
That's the word. Exactly. Well, Magnus is in the building and he won his round 3 game. Round 4 is about to start. It's Lazovic against the German guy, Svane. Nepo against Elham Amar, our guest streamer here in the Dave Cave. Should we follow that game?
Let's do it.
Oh, I love it.
Let's get to know Elham a bit better, and Nepo, a bit of a crowd favorite as well. We'll get Nepo's camera fixed very shortly.
Yeah, I had that was a very quick beard growth. Strong stuff.
And in the meantime, we see one of the most fiery lines of the Sicilian. It's the Sicilian Najdorf that Nepo is famous for. He's played for many years, but this shows Elham's aggression. He's a young guy. He's drinking the Red Bull there, full of energy, and he's going for Nepo straight from the off. Better for white, apparently. Attacking this knight already. Watch out, the white queen might come attack this rook in the near future too. This is very scary stuff for black. And a bishop sacrifice this early in the game. Elham's talking about it. This must be home preparation.
Oh, we can turn on the sound.
Very annoying to face for me, personally. I've faced this a lot. I don't remember anything there. I actually just have to blitz bishop d5, rook a7, castle, and then I have to hope for the best because I hate playing against that.
Hang on a second. Very annoying to face. I'm actually not sure what I'm doing. This sounds... I know it was Elham talking, but it could have been Nepo. Like, who's playing what colors here? That's the commentary I would expect from the player of the other color.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he was saying it's very annoying. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he spent only 12 seconds here for the first, dozen moves of the game. The move 15, he spent 15 seconds or less. That's
how you know how good he is, dude. Yeah. This is so annoying. I had to think, it cost an entire 12 seconds of my clock. I can't believe it. And he's commentating like a champ through all of this as well.
Oh, and look at this. No. He's winning this early in the game. It's a blunder by Nepo. What is the answer? There's all sorts of knight jumps that you have to calculate. I'm looking at knight takes pawn, a typical sacrifice to blow open the black king. I'm looking at the other knight jumping in with some checks.
He's used nearly 12 seconds. Watch out.
Wow. And what is the move? That is the question. Okay, it is one of those sacrifices. He's looking at it.
Yeah, there's no way to win the bishop.
Everyone's defended for now. The queen defends the bishop defends the knight. It's hanging by a thread for black. But they do say a knight on f5 will thrive. Sacrifice in the air. Knight takes pawn is apparently the only winning move for Elham here. He needs to take this and then bring his queen out. It's not an immediate checkmate. It's just long-term compensation against the weakened black king. And that would lead to a winning attack. That's not easy at all. Will he find it? He's slowed down. What do we think?
Wow. Elham Amar is on fire today.
Yeah, should we listen in on what he's talking about?
I think this works.
He found it.
But I'm not sure. Because after king g7, I have queen h5. 1 minute on that move is insane, by the way. So here I have this. And if f6, I have bishop h6, king h8, bishop f8, queen f8, knight f6. And this should be winning.
Yeah, I'm following in with the arrows there. Long variation, but it all starts with the white queen coming
Sahab. Okay.
In his own words, 1 minute was insane on that move because it's 5 times 12 seconds. So there you go. But it was the winning move, and it sounds like Elham's worked it out as well. He's given us the lines, and he's given us those lines on Nepo's time on the clock as well, which is that is a sign of confidence.
This is so impressive, I've got to say, while streaming as well.
Yeah.
The multitasking of kind of calculating, talking, playing in your opponent's time. It's very, very impressive. This is why he's so dangerous. He's so quick, so confident. Even when he says he doesn't know what he's doing, he's willing to sacrifice pieces against one of the best players in the last decade. And he's on the brink of winning already.
This would be huge for young Elham Amar, 20 years old from Norway. He is definitely a product of the Magnus Carlsen generation in Norway. He saw Magnus Carlsen becoming world champion, and here he is a grandmaster, and here he is playing the best players in the world. He is an expert in online blitz chess. He is one of the top 100 players on Chess.com, and he could be about to beat Jan Nepomniachtchi.
Yeah, he's so close now. I think you can keep things simple here. And there we go. He takes the rook. The king had to recapture. The black queen wanted to take back, but she was forced to remain defending her bishop. And now there's so many tempting moves. You can give a check with the white queen. You can take this pawn. The black king is just stripped of its defenses.
Maybe because of the pin, does white have time to bring the rook on a1? Last piece. Sorry, white even. Bring the last piece into the attack.
I love it, John. Great move there. You can bring it to two very tempting squares, open file or a square where it might target the black knights in the near future. He takes a pawn instead.
I get scared, though, thinking about those moves because in principle, you think, I'm just going to bring another piece into the attack. And afterwards, coach will always say, well, guess what? That was a critical position. You had to do this or that. And I go home disappointed. But on this occasion, white's very comfortable.
White's very comfortable. The black knight was forced back into a defensive position. And John, guess what? Best moves? Activate that last piece, bring it into the battle. White is attacking with queen, knight, and 2 rooks. Black is barely defending with 2 knights. You could also just bring the knight back. gobble up this pawn and open up that line towards the black king. This is a winning advantage. Only nerves can stop him now.
And Nepo used so much time before king takes g7 as well. You can't use the clock as a way to counterattack, like we saw the players we followed in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, exactly. And okay, Elham under 2 minutes. He's maybe at risk of overthinking here. He'll say 2 minutes is the point where you need to start rushing. You need to start increasing the pace, but no easy moves. And he does find one of the best ones. He's going to win this pawn. That was another good time investment. Every time he's paused, he's found the best move.
Wow, and look at him. He is so energetic on camera right now. Huge moment for Elham. Can he beat Jan Nepomniachtchi? The Russian Grandmaster is in huge trouble. Ticking now under 2 minutes on the clock. Can he save this?
Oh, so fast, so full of energy. Our collective knees are creaking just watching the stream.
If Nepo could somehow activate the black rook, put it on any other square, then he might have a chance. But for now, it's looking hopeless. The black bishop goes to the middle of the board. There was a sneaky threat of the queen stepping up one square, utilizing the fact the black knight was pinned. He's going to try and defend laterally now with his rook, defend across the board, but it's hanging by a thread. It really is. He's material up as well with the attack, Elham. He's now hitting the bishop. He's threatening to come in this angle. He's done everything right. It's been a perfect game so far. It's just about whether he can put the finishing touches on.
Look at the youngster, they're Norwegian. And this is good news for Magnus and Norway as well. Remember, there is a country standings in Title Tuesday as well. Right now, Russia is on top after 7 game weeks. Norway only has 1 point. Both Elham and Magnus, top 5 players from each country, gather points for their country. And this is good news for Norway. Massively better still, but the bar is swinging.
Bar's swinging. At least it, for a moment, thought that Nepo had some chances. He's running away with his king. He's defended everything. This is the perfect defensive setup. Full credit to Nepo. He's hung on in there in this game. And suddenly it's not so bad anymore. But will that continue? Oh, the knight jumping into the center does look precarious. We see a trade of pawns. White should give his king some breathing space. A good tip for everyone at home. Don't walk into any back rank checkmates. He doesn't go for that yet. He first pins the black knight. 1 minute versus 1 minute. We could see a scramble on our hands. That would be a fun way to end this game.
I'm looking for what the sort of key was that had the eval bar swinging so wildly. Was there a way for White to swap the attack over to the black bishop or something like that? There's some very careful maneuvering going on, and I think that also just goes to show, yes, you could be material up, yes, you could be in a winning position, but the hardest position to win in chess, David, is a winning one, and you have to be so careful. The good news is, though, at least until now, without time pressure, that does help a lot.
Exactly, and Elham there rejecting the chance to repeat the position. He gave a check, brought his queen back. He could have continued that motif, but nope, he plays on, and rightfully so, for the win. He should be getting closer now, but he brings his queen back, and if the black queen steps again forward, would that have been the 3rd time we saw that position? We don't find out the answer. Instead, we see a queen trade. Nepo is going for the pawns. He's going for White's pawns. White has 3 extra compared to black, but 2 pieces against a rook. He's never been closer to saving this game, Nepo.
Bar is down 2 better, and Elham is down on the clock. Can Nepo make a comeback in the game and actually win this?
All 3 results are possible suddenly. I think Elham's going to try and trade off one set of rooks. There we go. He's trying to get rid of the danger. We see a check. If he removes a rook, and if he trades off his rook now for either of black's 2 minor pieces, he cannot lose. On Chess.com, if you run out of time, you are given a draw as long as your opponent only has a minor piece left. Not enough checkmating material, but winning for White apparently still a lot of work to be done.
Can he actually lose on the clock?
He definitely can, Elham, but he's starting to pre-move. You can start pushing those pawns forward. That pawn should be captured now. So Elham cannot lose. It's just a question of whether he can win. The pre-moves are starting. It is a drawn endgame rook for bishop, a well-known draw, but it's probably tougher to pre-move with the bishop than the rook.
All right, the red clocks are coming up. This is round 4. Elham Amar, 20 years old for Norway, is fighting for one of the biggest. Oh, the bar is swinging.
The bar is swinging. He's in the wrong corner. The black king wants to be in a light squared corner. He's finding himself trapped in all different checkmating patterns. He's going to save himself there, Nepo, but look at the clock. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. He cannot pre-move. Nepo, the white piece is all on light squares. Look how professional this is from Elham. 2 seconds left for Nepo. 1 second. He's running out of time, and Elham wins on the clock.
Horrible.
Oh, My goodness.
Horrible by me.
I think that sums it up
Horrible
because there were
Horrible
about, and it's easy for us to say
I
it
won-
behind the commentary desk, there were maybe 6 different ways to win that didn't involve a time scramble at the end. But he gets the point and he manages to get the
Wow.
job done.
Elham Amar from Norway gets the point. He wins one of the biggest games in his career. He beats Jan Nepomniachtchi in round 4 of Title Tuesday, Game Week 8. Congratulations to Elham. That was a huge performance. What a game!
Yeah, what a game. It had everything. It had beautiful opening prep. It had some sacrifices, a bit of a king hunt, had great defense from Nepo, and then obviously the time scramble at the end. And that's why he's 3100 on Chess.com. He's a master of the pre-moves.
Yeah.
He knows with the rook against the bishop, you just stay on one color complex and you have all the time in the world to try and flag your opponent.
Yeah, he seems so calm and in control as well. What a game. We also saw wins for Hikaru Nakamura and Magnus Carlsen in round 4. They are back on the winning track, the 2 big favorites. And round 5 will start in about 4 minutes. This is Title Tuesday, Game Week 8, the Premier League of Chess.
Here we go.
Yeah, big results coming in. You just noticed Lazovic lost in round 4.
I feel like everyone we're following loses their next game. Getting slightly worried at this point. But of course, for who's going to end up winning, makes it very, very exciting indeed.
Yeah, we do see 13 players on a perfect score so far, 4 out of 4. Elham is one of those 4 players. All right, well, so much action on the board so far today. We're going to do an action replay. This one is sponsored by Lovable, our presenting partner. And this was the game Magnus Carlsen lost.
Yeah, what a game this was, full of twists and turns. Magnus took some massive risks. He had a losing position here, but he was able to fight back. He'd also turned down the chance of a repetition earlier, as well as mouse slipping. But look at how black untangles here. It's all about the pin on the black rook, but eventually that is broken. The bar sliding left, sliding right, can't make up its mind. But yeah, we've got to give credit to his young opponent. Defending, getting the black king to safety, and just in a moment bringing his rooks in was the beginning of the end for the white king. That was the key move. And checkmate came just a moment later with only a few seconds left.
I think what's incredible is that, yes, all of this started with the light squared bishop on a6 being such a thorn in white's side. And for most players, I suppose that alone would be the beginning of the end, positionally. But against Magnus, it's no. That has to be your opening salvo. You need a backup plan and then a backup to the backup plan. And you have to execute all of them together. But he managed to do that and take down the world number 1.
Yeah, incredible result for a young Rogo there. And that was today's action replay by our presenting partner, Lovable. Lovable is a great company, and love is a good word. Spread the love, you guys. We are getting ready for round 5, starting in only a few minutes. We do see 13 players on a perfect score, 4 out of 4. Magnus and Hikaru are both on 3 points. They have both lost and experienced some upsets here in Game Week 8. Who do you hold as a favorite now, John, to win Game Week 8?
I think because we had several of the leading contenders lose, I actually think that propels Magnus and Hikaru back. And maybe they're occupying 80% of the space they might have vacated from that early loss. So I'm actually going to predict they bounce back from this now that we've seen Lazovic lose in the very next round.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a lot of up and down today. Players are losing, players are winning. And we do see Elham streaming from the Dave Cave on 4 out of 4 after winning against Jan Nepomniachtchi in round 4. So much excitement today on the boards. Clocks are ticking. We're seeing red clocks. We're seeing blunders. We're seeing mouse slips even from Magnus Carlsen today. If you compare this to other esports that you cover, John, is chess up there in terms of excitement, drama, pulse, pressure?
Yes, but not necessarily in the way that I think I wanted to. How do I put it? it's not just about the excitement of the game. It's the fact that chess, even in its most basic form, you tweak the time control, you tweak the format of a tournament, and suddenly the variety, like the psychology, how you choose to approach a game, what openings you would pick, become completely different.
Yeah.
If you took other esports and you said, we're going to do exactly the same thing, but half the amount of time, that could be for a round in Counter-Strike, a half in football, for example, or any one of a number of things. There are things you would tweak, but the base of the game remains broadly the same. And with chess, I feel like it changes more than other esports. The presence of increment can change your opening choice, for example. The time control completely changes the way some players approach the game. And it's fascinating how much variety you can get from such a small tweak.
Yeah. How is chess different than esports? How, we now know it's on the esports stage at the EWC, but is it very different from all these other esports?
So to get into that, there is an element of getting into politics and commercials, which sounds scary for broadcast, but hear me out here. Chess is very decentralized. No one owns the game of chess and has the exclusive rights to broadcast it. We don't answer to a specific game publisher or a specific tournament organizer or anything like that. Anyone can go out there and use a platform and run their own tournament. There's nothing stopping them. So the potential for chess to fill gaps that people might have wanted to fill in other esports but couldn't is genuinely close to limitless. And that, in my opinion, is what's the most exciting about chess as an esport.
Yeah. And well, I love hearing that. All right. Well, round 5 is about to start, you guys. In Title Tuesday, game week 8. This is chess as an esport. Players are logging on from every corner of the globe. Elham is logging on from the Dave Cave here in the Take offices. He's on a perfect score. And here he is up against Parvian, a grandmaster.
Yeah, and very quick queen trade in this one. White grabs a pawn with a check. I'd be curious to see what Elham's saying, because he went for something they call the center game, something that was very popular when I was a child, but has suddenly experienced a bit of a renaissance, and White next move recaptures a pawn. White's a pawn up, but with some fractured pawns, with the Black Knight jumping into the center. This is clearly still preparation from both players, as Paravian, rock solid player, super experienced grandmaster, seems to have equalized his position.
I love this as well because, as you rightly call it, it's a center game. But for anyone who isn't necessarily that familiar with openings, I look at the screen and I go, no. The center's the one thing that's been obliterated for both sides. There is no center in this game. So this is very interesting, very, very quick to get to this point as well. 4 minutes 26, 4 minutes 20. And with pieces already off the board and so much already being played, you're right, David. This is a huge home preparation, and it's going to be interesting to see whether Elham can squeeze out a decisive advantage in the middle game here.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful with White. And the White King here, I just don't think it's going to be safe for the near future. It feels like it's going to get checked. It could even get checkmated. Cutting across this diagonal is the Black Bishop right now. You have to be very careful not to lose this bishop behind enemy lines. Half of your army are asleep. So Elham, if he can keep his pawn, like you said, John, a decisive advantage. If not, then he might be in big trouble.
Yeah. Elham coming from a win against Jan Pomniachtchi in round 4, but no easy games here in Title Tuesday. Here he is up against David Paravian, who came second in Title Tuesday last week. He's played all game week so far in Split 1, and he's won Title Tuesday 4 times in history. He's exceptionally good in this format. Another tough opponent for Elham, but he must be super confident after that win.
Yeah, you can tell just the speed he started this game as well. He slowed down because normally when you play a rare opening, you don't expect the opponent to react so quickly. I think the fact that Elham has been caught by David Paravian here might affect that confidence slightly. But yeah, very early days. The best move might be to drop the bishop back with a check, force some exchanges, replace it with a very strong pawn, then start to race out with your pieces. But okay, he trades off bishops instead. Very natural move.
I was going to ask if there was a way where at the end of getting the dark squared bishop safe, you could play knight into d4 with the idea being king d2 being a safe square, which sounds so counterintuitive, but with no queens on the board, maybe? We're not going to get to see it, though, so I've got no idea how big a blunder that would have been.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a blunder. It would have been a very decent move. But Elham went a different direction. He's still got this idea in mind, the bishop to come out. And as you mentioned there, the king now has a bunch of safe squares it can choose. So Elham, I wonder what he's saying right now.
Yeah, we can listen to him.
D6, BA6, and then rook h. Do you want to get a pawn? Maybe. But he goes this. I didn't really cover this, did I?
He is very good at streaming and playing fast chess at the same time. Thinking out loud.
Multitasking, and I know it is all about calculation with him. He's very, very good at seeing these variations, especially against Nippon in the previous game. Those sharp lines, piece sacrifice, he worked it out perfectly. And he was talking about this line in a slightly different scenario. I don't think he was so happy with how things had transpired. Very surprised last move Black didn't kick away the knight and try to get this pawn back, but instead he's trying to bring his rook into the game.
There's so much tension on the board right now, and there's obviously plenty to play for, but in terms of fundamentals, I'm looking at Black's pawns, I'm looking at White's pawns, and I'm thinking, how on earth is White gonna hold on to this structure long term? I'm just really struggling to see how that's possible.
Yeah, you're right. It's all about the pawns. Black can even grab this pawn if he wants to restore the material balance. Remember, White is a pawn up, everyone. But not for long. The black rook can also come in, start hunting down those pawns, all the targets on the second rank. And if Elham's pawn drops long term, which it does look likely to do, then it's going to be trouble. I think this is going in Black's favor. The Eval bar agrees.
The only way for White to try and dislodge the Black king from blockading the pawn is the knight check, where it can be immediately traded off. So the second question I want to ask off the back of that is, therefore, what are the pair of rooks doing? They're not exactly in the most active position they possibly can be. And that's, I guess, what's making me worried that Black's not won, but Black's got all the cards to play here. It's kind of what it feels like.
Exactly. And I used to be guilty of this a lot myself as a youngster. I see a very strong pawn. I just assume that White must be doing well. 2 squares from promotion must be good. But if you can't push that forward, all of your pieces, their energy is pretty much just blunted by your own pawn. You kind of want to pick it and throw it off the board. He's walked into a knight fork though, Elham. Big blunder. And he's losing his rook there.
Oh no, Elham Amar. He's won all games so far today, but struggling here against David Parvian in round 5.
Yeah, it's a good name. David Paravian.
Yes.
And yeah, he's living up to that. The white knight's coming back round. He's trying to get your idea, John, of the knights teaming up to deliver a final check. But as long as that square is covered, maybe a black pawn should just step 1 square forward. It's very one-dimensional. He actually plays that move preemptively. And here we go. Elham in big, big trouble.
Is there anything he can do? Is there any hope? He's down on the clock and obviously massively worse in the game.
He needs a bit of a miracle. Knights are notoriously tricky, but he can't land a fork. He can't land a check, and that means he will not save this game. I think he might be trying with his rook now to get in behind, but that will be easily parried as the black rook steps back. For black, it's just about rounding up this pawn sooner or later, or trading rooks. A rook trade would end the game as a contest now.
Yeah, White wants to try and complicate and keep things as tricky as possible for his opponent, right? But I guess if I'm black here, I'd be telling myself, stay solid. You might not be able to simplify straight away, but the long-term trend of the game is you're going to simplify to a 1 endgame. Don't do anything rash.
Yeah, he's being very, very calm about things here. Following all of your advice there, he's next going to bring the rook across. He's broken the blockade willingly. He actually grabs that pawn with his bishop. Shake of the head from Elham. It's currently a rook and a pawn for a knight. That's a 3-point advantage. And barring any nasty knight forks, he's threatening one now, Elham. Paravian should win this. He can move his rook out the way. He can move his king back. You can start in any order, and you should be winning. The most attractive move to my eyes would be to just move this rook out the way. Elham looks furious with himself.
Super frustrated. Meanwhile, Magnus Carlsen in the streaming room next door has won his game against Rauf Mamedov. Magnus will be on 4 points. And probably Elham will as well be on 4 points after round 5. Maybe we will see an all Norwegian and all take battle in round 6.
You can even get away with something like... oh, there you go, playing your suggestion, David. I was looking at whether bishop e5 was possible, saying, hey, if you want to make any progress in this position, you're going to have to give up one of those annoying knights, and simplifying doesn't feel like it's can possibly be in white's favor, so that would be an incredibly frustrating choice to have to make.
Yeah, bishop e5 was actually the top engine move, so good work there, John. In the meantime, the rook's getting out the way. No knight fork landed there. The problem is, even if you win one of the black rooks for a knight now, you're 2 pawns down, 2 connected pass pawns down on the king's side. That's why Elham didn't rush in with his knight a moment ago. But the pawns can start mobilizing now. They can start walking down the board. And this game is almost over. Elham knows it, talking himself through it. The clock, though, 30-something seconds. Can he produce another miracle on the clock? That's the question.
Yeah.
What do you do in that position, David, when you know that you're in a losing position, but it's not lost? I feel like there are 2 paths you can go down. Are you just talking to reassure yourself and reset ahead of the next game? Or is there still a part of you that's thinking, actually, the more I talk through this, the more likely there is I find a way out?
Yeah, ideally, you want to do the latter, I guess. You want to talk yourself through it. You want to stay confident. I know so many players who swindle their ways kind of out of bad positions on a regular basis because they believe, they manifest it. But Elham here, oh, look at this. He was trying to deliver some nasty checks with his knight, still trying to believe that there's hope, but it did cost him a bunch of his time. Black has now transformed it to be 3 clear pawns up as he gives some checks with his rook. He's going to save this pawn now. There we go. Still totally winning for black, but the clock is an issue. Knights are so pesky. He's still alive, Elham. 4 seconds up suddenly. Oh, the nerves must be kicking in for Paravian. As the white king continues advancing, he's definitely getting nervous. He's definitely lost control here. Oh, don't step forward with the black king. There would have been a checkmate. The clock turns red. All of the checks. The black king's danced out of trouble, though. 7 seconds should still be enough. He's still totally winning, but he's dropped a pawn. He's about to drop another pawn. The white knight's jumping. 5 seconds each, and suddenly he's dropped his rook. Suddenly Elham was back in the game, but only for a moment because the black pawns are too strong now. 4 seconds each. Who is going to win? Is it the rook or the bishop? A queen appears. Black needs to get rid of the white rook. That will save him, remove the danger. Quick pre-moves. Elham's removing everything, and it's a draw by stalemate. Wow.
Look at that celebration from Elham Amar. He saves the draw here.
Is he blind?
Oh.
Blind?
Some immediate emotions there from Elham. I mean, what a huge save.
What an incredible save.
Wow.
And I just want to point out how it finished. It was the Rosen trap. Paravian pre-moved there. He took the white rook, assuming the white king would take back the queen, but it moved into the corner, stalemating itself, and Paravian had pre-moved something else, forcing a stalemate, a very rare way to save a game, but that was incredible. So speedy.
Rosen stalemate trick. Huge.
Pre-moving, trying to think about what your opponent is going to play, and therefore hoping that the pre-move lands you a better result. That's not that unusual.
Okay.
But with 4 seconds left on the clock in a game like this, that is incredible for them to be able to calculate. Wow, what a finish.
Wow. I mean, okay, round 6 is starting, but for Elham, is that equal to winning a game? Just a draw in that situation?
At least mentally, it feels the same as a win. It was half a point that he didn't really deserve, maybe. Half a point that he didn't think he would get. But suddenly he's still up there among the leaders, not far off the top now. And yeah, we jump into round 6. It's been breathless action so far, and long may that continue.
Definitely. Elham Amar is now on 4.5 points. Magnus Carlsen is on 4 points. Hikaru Nakamura is also on 4 points. These 2 players are still on a perfect score. We have Svana against Max Zodlo here in round 6. A winner here will go up to 6 out of 6.
Yeah, and Svana, one of the 2 Svana brothers.
Yep.
In the previous round, they were on boards 1 and 3. He's the older of the 2, although they're very similarly rated now, both kind of mainstays of the German national team. He's gone for the Reti opening, white staying very flexible, not occupying the center with pawns yet, playing with pieces. It's kind of hyper-modern chess. You only push the pawns forward when they're fully supported, when all your pieces are ready. Max Zodlo, in the meantime, reacting with a kind of Queen's Gambit declined type of setup, although I don't really like where the black bishop stands. Very vulnerable to attacks. Very early days, but white doing well.
Yeah, I did actually notice the other day that the brothers, Rasmus and Fredrik Svana, they were 1 point separating them on Chess.com Blitz rating. One was 3,059, the other 3,058. That's as close as it gets.
You know, as siblings, that's going to be like rivalries boasting around the dinner table.
Yeah.
Just like David and I are 1 point apart, so it's a regular point of contention.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're so competitive, aren't we?
Right?
Well, this is Rasmus Male, the big brother of the two, and he's up against Max Odlo, who is fantastic in not only chess, but especially online blitz chess.
Exactly. I just checked, by the way. They're number 5 and 6 in Germany. They're locked next to each other on the national rating list as well, the Svana brothers. But as you say, Magzulu, a very, very strong opponent in his own right, leading the Iranian charge here. Some very strong Iranian kids coming up. But there's a big threat in the position. The pawn trying to kick away the bishop. And that would come at the cost of this backward black pawn. White's rook's coming. This is just a beautiful middle game for Svana.
Max Hudlu's story as well, where I can't remember if it was during the Grand Swiss, where he gave an absolutely wonderful interview talking about how he felt like he lost a couple of years of trying to contend for the World Championship during COVID lockdowns and things like that. And it's absolutely his primary mission to focus on getting to the World Championship. I think, to paraphrase him, I don't care if I lose every tournament and lose 200 rating points. If I get to the World Championship match, that is all that matters. And by the end of that interview, I think everyone was behind him. It was so emotional, so wonderful. If you haven't heard it, after the end of the broadcast, obviously, go and look it up. Absolutely incredible, very sweet guy.
Yeah, he is. And you're right, at 25 years old, it is those players born around 2000 that were very hardly affected by COVID. They lost a lot of years there playing over the board tournaments and the chance to gain rating, the chance to qualify for big tournaments.
Yeah, for sure. And it's everyone was affected in some way or other, but for them, it's all like traditionally these are the prime years where you break out, show yourself as a super GM, really start putting yourself in contention for world championships and stuff like that. And that wasn't snuffed out, but it was forcibly delayed. It was beyond their control. There's a point to prove. There's an extra storyline there that we might not appreciate at first glance.
Yeah, and it feels like he's on the brink of a big breakthrough. He nearly, he fell off at the end there, but in the Grand Swiss, he was leading for most of the event. And it's just kind of lasting the distance. That's been what's stopped Magzudli. I remember playing him in the 2016 Olympiad. That's already a long time ago, 9 years ago, and he was already a fantastically strong Grandmaster. So he's got the pedigree. He just needs to put things together and still kind of prove himself against the top guys. But in the meantime, he's proving that he knows how to handle this middle game because he's opening up the position for his bishops. Svana's lost control. I think played a bit too tentatively, a bit slowly. And now these bishops have been unleashed as we see the black queen come out. White here, slightly worse because the king is open. Double pawns as well. If black can somehow generate an attack, maybe starting by bringing the rooks across, and it's looking good for Magzulu. A minute down, though, on the clock.
Max Odlo, he is exceptional in Title Tuesday as well. He's played all game weeks so far in Split 1, and he's won Title Tuesday historically 12 times. And now he's massively better on the bar. Is this a blunder by Rasmus Svana?
Oh, he's walked into a pin. He's got one pin covered. The rooks can't come across and pin the white knight because a nasty knight check would land, hitting the rook that was trying to do the pinning. Instead, this pin, dropping the black queen back one square, would have been very, very strong there for Magzudlu. Missed, but he still found a good solution. He's traded off the knights, and he's trying to reroute his queen now towards the other flank. It does look like reduced material, so a draw still maybe the most likely result, but he's got the safer king.
I love the punch in the middle of the board of e5 by Maksudlu there as well, because there was a moment early in the middle game where I wanted to ask, can white get away with f3, king f2 and tuck the king behind in the middle and maybe use the g file to his advantage? The instant e5 means all of those ideas are out the window because king safety just can't be guaranteed because one of those pawns went out straight away.
Exactly. That's such a kind of key move that you're pointing out there a few moments ago. It's also allowed him, it cleared the 6th rank so he could swing his rook across, and now he's got a huge advantage. What is the winning move? Is there a winning move? Maybe it's just a capture, and now to check. He's coming in behind. His next move is guaranteed to be another check, and he's winning a pawn, Magzudlu.
Wow.
That was fantastic geometry. Like, long-range moves are always the most satisfying, and I think you can grab this pawn. You have to be a bit careful, as the white queen is actually threatening to come up and to threaten a checkmate, utilizing a different pin. He's pausing Magzudlu, doing some last-minute calculation. Can he allow that?
Yeah, what happens there?
I was thinking that he could take this pawn and then drop back with his queen with a check, but no, actually that would have led to a forced draw. The white queen would have come up, the pawn would have blocked, and then a capture, and we would have seen a repetition. For anyone at home, that would have ended in perpetual check. Instead now, Magzulu didn't win the pawn, and the white queen guards this little guy now. Looking level suddenly.
These two guys are fighting to go up to 6 out of 6. Perfect score. Magnus Carlsen is fighting to stay in the fight to win Title Tuesday Game Week 8, and he's won in round 6. Magnus Carlsen is now on 5 points. Hikaru Nakamura is slightly better in his game against Madavi. Hikaru has also lost a game. Both Magnus and Hikaru needs to win games to stay in the top.
You can see the frustration from Svane there. He's going to feel like he's lost a thread just a little bit. Maybe he thought he had something better. Maksudlu, maybe this wasn't like a move where White was suddenly better a couple moves ago. This could be leftover frustration from when Maksudlu was much better before. And that could just be relief in finding this position where actually he's not losing and he's able to make some pushes of his own.
Yeah, I think Svane might have had half an eye on the clock, where Magzulu was around the 1 minute mark when there were queens still on the board. If you kept them on a bit longer, maybe you force the opponent to lose a bit more time, you force the clock lower, and then you make your move. So Svane shaking his head. He knows that he's on the defensive here. He cannot afford a rook trade because black has the outside pass pawn. Black's H pawn potentially doing some damage if the rooks ever come off. So he's just fighting for a draw, and we might see that draw here and now. Magzulu needs to bail out. No time. Will Svane play for the win? If he goes this way, it means he wants to win this game, but huge risk attached. Moment of truth, and there we go. It is a draw.
How are they feeling about this draw? Who's happy? Who's upset?
Neither happy. You can see on the camera. Yeah. But I think Svane should be a bit more relieved.
Both of them going up to 5.5 points. But here we have 2 players also on a perfect score after 5 rounds, fighting to go up to 6 out of 6. Andrei Esipenko, we see him up there every single game week. He's up against Ibarra.
Yeah, and big threat. We jump in at a very promising moment for White. Eval Barca is massively better, if not winning. The idea is to check, slide the rook across. The rook lift has begun, and the king has nowhere safe to go. It will have to go back, and then the white queen will have its choice of pawns to capture. This is actually going to play out. White can give this check now. The black king's going to drop back, take this pawn with a check. This pawn is also hanging on the edge of the board. It's going to be a 2-pawn advantage. There we go. And now checkmate, or pretty much checkmate, was threatened. The black rook would have had to throw itself in the way. This is just a matter of technique now. 2 pawns up with an attack. 40 seconds, more than enough. He actually pushes his pawn forward, hitting the black rook, which needs to stay connected to its bishop. Now a check. And check blocked. Will we see a rook trade now?
Andrei Esipenko, 23 years old, from Russia. Ooh, the bar is swinging. He's played all game week so far in split 1, and he's always up there.
Yeah, a bit careless from Esipenko. He should have traded the bishops, not the rooks. Suddenly he's dropped both of his kingside pawns. Those 2 pawns kept the white king nice and safe, and suddenly it looks like, wow, black is definitely back in this game. Esipenko's got super nervous. Look at the black pawn structure, so compact now. The black queen can give loads of checks later. Esipenko's banking everything on this pawn, but it's going to be easily stopped by the black king, and this is the 3 result position. The clock's going to decide this.
Ooh, and the clocks will turn red in 2 seconds for both of the players.
Ooh, and Esipenko chooses not to go for a draw. He's threatening a nasty checkmate, so black has to keep checking. This is a race against time now. The white king has nowhere to hide. This should be a draw. Esipenko sits back as he has to accept the repetition.
Wow, we see another draw here in round 6. 2 more players going to 5.5 points. Will we see anyone on a perfect score, 6 out of 6 after a 6th round? I don't think so.
Missed opportunities there. That was very entertaining, though. Both players fighting to the absolute bitter end, and with everyone now dropping at least half a point.
Yeah.
Very exciting as we cross the halfway mark.
And great news for Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura.
Exactly.
Magnus is now only half a point behind. Same with Hikaru Nakamura, who also won in round 6. It was a loss for Elham Amar. It was a draw in round 5, and now a loss for him in round 6. Round 7 is starting. I'm checking out the matchups. Magnus against Dubov, his World Championship second from 2021. That's an interesting one. Should we follow Magnus?
Yeah, we have to.
We have to.
I know he's not part of the leading pack right now, but firstly, look at that water glass. That was, I don't know what kind of vase that we call that. what kind of plant that used to hold. But yeah, Magnus against Dubov have produced so many spectacular games throughout their careers against each other.
Yeah. All right. Dubov, what is his style? He is an entertaining player, correct?
He is. His style has been evolving to become more solid in classical chess. At the Grand Swiss recently, he drew 10 out of his 11 games. Rock solid there. But in Rapid and Blitz, he takes a lot more risk. He's naturally very, very aggressive, dynamic. He always has been since he broke onto the scene. I first played him in the old Internet Chess Club back in the mid-2000s. And I was like, who's this firebrand? He's like 11, 12 years old, and already he was crushing me back then. So he is, a phenomenon. One of the most talented players, Magnus. In Magnus's own words, one of the most talented players in the world.
Wow. And here they are up against each other. Two players who know each other extremely well. They worked with each other in 2021 when Dubov helped Magnus Carlsen beat Jan Nepomniachtchi in the World Chess Championship match. Magnus is better on the bar.
I still just can't get over the fact that there should have been fish in that vase. That was massive.
Maybe that's what we should put in there.
I've never seen something without flowers in it. Look, quite that large. That is impressive.
He is a thirsty man, Magnus Carlsen. He needs his water. And
maybe that's the trick. That's what we've been missing the whole time.
Exactly. Maybe that's the secret is as simple as that.
My glass here is tiny.
Yeah.
I feel like it's correlating with rating. You know what? I'm going to test this out. I'm going to go home with the biggest vestibule you could possibly have in the kitchen and watch my rating climb by 400
Exactly.
points.
That's a secret. The thing now is we're going to see all the kids at like over the board tournaments with like...
Oh, no, stop it. They're annoying enough when they place their water bottle just next to the rook. What I don't need is for that water bottle to be 5 times the size.
It's going to be more difficult for you to organize tournaments from now on, John.
Absolutely.
Magnus Carlsen keeps creating trends, and now it's vases of water. Stay hydrated. All right, better on the bar.
Better on the bar. This game started life as a Dutch defense. Dubov is known to play all sorts of openings, but especially in Rapid and Blitz, he freestyles a bit more. The Dutch defense is a bit of a provocative one. Gave White a bunch of space. We saw Magnus push all of his pawns on the queen side, and that has led to a total destruction of the A and B files. Rooks coming off, pawns coming off. Magnus is going to now try and play this position. The eval bar says he's better because he is the one with easier access to this side of the board. He's the one with more central influence, but still very early days. Still anything can happen here.
Magnus Carlsen, drinking from a soda can as well. Magnus Carlsen has won Title Tuesday 42 times. Daniil Dubov has won it 12 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think every time Magnus lifts his arm, he's actually drinking from a different... Oh, please tell me he's planned that and he's got like 12 different things under the table.
Maybe it's just a very small water vase. It's just he brings it really near the camera.
Oh, and it's all perspective. We're getting tricked. Love this. So it'll be a coffee mug next, I reckon. He can at least get to 3.
I don't think Magnus Carlsen drinks coffee.
No, I don't think he does.
What? I mean, incorrect for starters, but not even decaf. Actually, to be fair, why would you drink decaf?
Yeah,
I've answered.
I know. I
answered my
do
own
not
question.
get the point of decaf.
No, fair.
Yeah. No, we did talk about this before the show. There is something with chess players and not drinking coffee. And when you said you wanted a cup of coffee, John, I said...
I wanted about 3.
Are you sure you are a chess player is what I said then. All right. Well, Magnus Carlsen not drinking coffee. He is staying hydrated on water. He is better in this game. This is round 7. He is half a point behind the lead, but still good chances to win Title Tuesday, game week 8.
And Magnus will not be happy with the trend of the last few moves. The white knight came forward, then it was kicked back. Now it's just been traded off. But the black knight is such a strong piece now. It's keeping an eye on this pawn. So Magnus might have to sacrifice a pawn if he wants to take back with the bishop. Taking with a pawn, meanwhile, would have been terrible for the white king. So Magnus is down a pawn suddenly. Eval Bar says he's got sufficient compensation because he has the 2 bishops, potentially an open position to use them in as well. But he also had access to some open files. I'm very surprised the white queen didn't try and jump in. But this one's definitely gone against Magnus the last few moves. These guys, they played so many training games back in 2021 ahead of that World Championship. Magnus has said that Dubov was outplaying him more than most people are capable of. Wow. So this could go in any direction. Magnus needs to be very energetic to hold the balance.
Is the idea behind not bringing the queen in the fact that if the rook ever comes up to a7, and the queen wants to come out so that black gains activity. You've got that cheeky little rook b7 move supported by the light square bishop, forcing the black's major pieces back. So I'm wondering if that's what they're jostling for right now.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Also, the black knight might have gained a bit of time if the white queen had sat on that b7 square. So he's trying to kind of pincer movement that c7 pawn with the rook and with the queen, as Dubov, in his style, tries to go for the white king. It's always a matter of time before Dubov tries to make his move for the opponent's king. Magnus kind of frowning there.
Yeah, he's not looking too happy.
Yeah, he's hitting the black queen. There are choices here. Black could just bring the queen out. There we go. I'm surprised it's that square. Bringing it one square further would have put some serious pressure on the white pawn chain. Now Magnus does have his choice of grabbing this pawn, maybe taking advantage of a mistake there.
When you see a move that looks that good, queen takes pawn just looks really solid here, and you see Magnus pausing as well to look for something better, you have to start sweating a bit, right?
Yeah, I think he was just wondering whether to trade off rooks first, but why rush into that? That would have improved the black bishop, and there would have been some tricks in the air. Instead, the rook is defended, so there's no rush at all. Magnus is going to go a pawn up. It's just about whether Dubov can create any threats in the meantime. Rooks had to come off there. They had to be traded. Doesn't change anything. Ooh, Dubov taking this pawn, and now Magnus only has one good move. He doesn't find it. He didn't need to take that pawn back. He could have just ignored everything and won the knight. But that was such a scary pawn to let live. The black pawn could have marched down the board. There could have been some queen checks. Magnus playing a more natural move, but he's blown the advantage. Now this pawn is dropping. The black bishop is coming in. Game on.
Wow, is that a blunder then by Magnus to take that pawn?
Yeah, I'll say missed opportunity. He played the safe move. He wanted to keep his time bank, his time advantage. But missed opportunity. Huge miss there from Magnus, and I think he was relying on some checks to the black king, but that can be easily blocked now by a black bishop and some serious pressure. He's actually got to be careful it doesn't turn even further, even more around here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there are any universes where white can play something like e4, and then there's like risks of pinning a bishop to f8 because you bring the queen to the back rank, but I can't make anything work.
Yeah, it's not quite working now, and some calculation is needed. But I think your idea there, John, knight takes pawn would have been met by a queen check, pinning the black bishop in some trouble. So the black bishop gets itself active first. If he can take this pawn, if it's Dubov's move, he gets a really fierce attack against the white king. So Magnus has to give it a check.
I wanted d5 to work so badly.
Close, just one move away.
Yeah.
One move away. Now Magnus might have to bail out here with a draw before Dubov lands this check, which will just be too scary. Bishop takes pawn cannot be allowed. This game might just fizzle out now towards a draw.
Hikaru Nakamura has won in round 7. He is up to 6 points.
Can Magnus keep pace? That's the big question. He's using all of his remaining time. He missed that opportunity. He could have taken a free knight, but so much calculation was needed. That's such a miss from Magnus, and now we see him give all the checks, and he plays for the win. He doesn't bail out with the draw.
Oh, wow.
He keeps this pawn protected for now, but that pawn can still be captured. There we go. It's a trade of bishops. The knight will come in. Watch out. The queen is threatening some checks, maybe threatening this pawn in the center. If anything, it's Magnus who's got to be more careful. Queen and knight is such a devastating attacking combo.
And he is now down on the clock, ticking down to 30 seconds. What do you guys think? Will we see a winner or a draw in this game?
If it was anyone else playing, I would say, okay, it's cute that they've played on for another couple of moves, but both sides have 30 seconds. They know what's going on. It's going to be a draw. But because it's Magnus, I'm so afraid of... Magnus has seen some resource. He's gone, oh, if I can trade this pair of pawns, this is the trap I'm going to try before repeating moves and giving the draw. I'm waiting to see what that trap is.
Yeah, and there we go. The queen trade is going to signal the draw. If Dubov wanted to play on, he could have kept those central pawns on the board. Now we're going to see the players find a way to draw. I don't think either wants to flag the other. They have so much mutual respect, these two. Really good friends. We see the position lock up. That favors the knight, if anything. It's really easy to pre-move with black. Since the opponent only has a light squared bishop, so one-dimensional. The black king is coming. Magnus is getting outplayed here, but it should still be a draw. Dubov's not going to try and play on too much longer. Surely now. The game goes on, though. We see it repeat, and Magnus leans back. It is a threefold repetition and a draw.
Just a new Title Tuesday, where there's... You have to try and flag. It was a bit of a shaky game, honestly, from the beginning. Blundered a pawn. And let me try and have a look at the game.
Magnus Carlsen, a draw for him here in round 7. If you want to go through the game with him, then you can, of course, check out his point of view stream. Here, we're going to check out the bird's eye view, what's happening in the tournament. We now have 3 players on 6.5 points. Max Udlo, one of those 3 players. Magnus Carlsen is now on 5.5, same as Elham. Hikaru now on 6 points. Hikaru Nakamura is fighting to win Title Tuesday Game Week 8. Can Magnus still win it, do you think?
I think he can. I think it comes down to the almost inevitable head-to-head against Hikaru. I think that is going to be what boils things over. Potential spoilers might include players like Maksudlu, for example, who had a stronger start and may have the possibility of maintaining a half-point lead.
Yep.
I think a lot comes down to whether Magnus plays Hikaru soon. And if, for example, they end up drawing and they're a point behind and they can't quite get paired against the players at the top who are running away with it, that could be quite interesting.
Yeah. All right, well, Hikaru is back in it. He had a horrible start today. He lost in round 1, but he's won every single game since that. Now on 6 points, here he is with the black pieces against one of the 3 leaders of Title Tuesday Game Week 8. It's Theodoro on 6.5 points.
Yeah, Hikaru made his way back all the way up to board 2. Very, very impressive. He's on a streak. Must be feeling the flow yet again. Early days here. A bit of a delay there. Looks like Hikaru forfeited 30 seconds. I'm not sure what was happening. Wow. Maybe he thought it was the round 8 break already, but that's after this round. We see another Reti opening. That is the White Knight coming out. Very early, will we see the King's Indian attack now? White going for some kind of pawn break in the center. Will we see White play more of a flank strategy? Nope, the Knight comes out instead. As the other Knight drops back, these pawns are going to be thrown forward now. And Theodoru is going to go on the attack. Hikaru, in the meantime, has built the triangle of pawns. Rock solid, but basically just aimed at keeping the tension as long as possible.
Go on, David. Number of moves where Hikaru goes up on the clock. Go on.
I think Theodoru is a very quick player. I'm going to say in 10 more moves, Hikaru is going to be up on time.
Because I do reckon that will happen. I think it's not a deep think out of the opening, and when Hikaru is on form, and he is superhuman with how quickly he moves.
The way he is able to think so quickly, his intuition extreme. Hikaru Nakamura, but it is Theodoro. All right, the bar goes down to slightly better for Hikaru Nakamura.
Yeah, maybe just a slightly mistimed attack. Theodoru could have pushed his pawns forward before clarifying the center. He blocked it and therefore was forced to trade a set of pawns when Hikaru asked for it. Suddenly 30 seconds in between the 2 players, but for black, it's an easier position. This bishop is such a nice sniper from afar, locking down the white pawns, putting some pressure on. This black knight is really nicely entrenched, also putting some pressure on pawns. And the other black bishop is doing a good pinning job. And there we go. Hikaru tries to blow open the center. He's going to continue pushing forward and going for white. White's playing on the flank, therefore he should be breaking in the middle of the board.
Yeah, much better now for Hikaru Nakamura. Nicholas Theodoro owns 6.5 points. He's a grandmaster from Greece, 25 years old, ranked as number 67 in the world in over-the-board classical chess on Chess.com Blitz. Over 3,100 is his rating. He is one of the best in the world, and he is one of 3 players in the top of Title Tuesday Game Week 8, but it's not looking too good right now.
Yeah, he's also had his pieces forked by that black knight, Hikaru Nakamura, invading on the 7th there. And this is a deeply unpleasant position, forcing white to give up an exchange here. So we're 10 seconds from Hikaru getting up on the clock as well.
Yeah, Hikaru has worked his magic. Theodoro is such a dangerous player in recent times, especially with white. He's beaten so many strong players. He beat Gukesh in the Grand Swiss, among other victims. And look at this. He's a full rook down.
Ooh.
He knows that wasn't a good move. He's leaving that black knight to survive and save itself, having gobbled up a rook as well. But he's banking everything on these pawns, acting as steamrollers towards the black king. That was a calculated risk. Probably not great. The other black knight coming into the center too. Hikaru should defend this, but Theodoro felt he had to gamble.
All right, much better for Hikaru, and he is about to go up on the clock.
I like the idea, but I'm asking myself, what next? You can't really push f6. You push e6. Okay, it looks good, and it opens up the diagonal for the dark squared bishop, and there's a lot of ticks, but I don't see the follow-up uppercut that wins you the game. And the eval bar agrees. I'm not sure it was necessarily quite that strong, but I guess it is. And my question now is, White's position looks okay, but I'm not seeing where the progress comes from here.
Exactly. The threats will be blocked. The white queen could have stood up on the diagonal. That would have been blocked by the black queen. He's just a rook down, Theodoru. Nice pawns will not save that fact, and Hikaru can bully him now with a trade of queens. Look at this. The queen trade is pretty much forced. If the white queen steps back away, it's another knight fork. The other black knight jumps in. Theodoru might be thinking about resigning. Just to mention as well, we predicted 10 moves between Hikaru being significantly behind on the clock and from him catching up. It was exactly 10 moves.
Wow.
And he won the exchange in the meantime. He's just so quick. So impressive, Hikaru, when he's in this form.
And he is about to go up to 7 points.
Oh dear.
Oof. That was another fork. He's just bluffing now, Theodoru. He's hoping for something on this diagonal, but it doesn't exist.
At some point, you're going to have to start taking those knights back. Not good that they've just been allowed to run rampant all over the position, and sadly, everything's just defended back at home. The queen and bishop battery looks scary, but unfortunately, that's all it is. It looks scary. Maybe like knight g6 shenanigans to try and surprise, but look at this, just blocking with the queen, nice and straightforward.
It's a win for Magnus Carlsen in round 8 against Rasmus Vanne. Magnus now on 6.5 points.
Wow, Magnus always seems to be the first to finish, especially when we're not watching him. And look at this, it's a shake of the head from Theodoru. He didn't take back either of those black knights. He landed a check, but he's been forced to trade off the queens. And I mean, he's literally 2 rooks down now, just for a few pawns. But if he gets a bit more time, maybe Theodoru can try to create some counterplay.
You know what this reminds me of, David? And this is going back to 2013 Hastings.
Ooh.
Knights are gods.
Knights are gods.
Knights are gods, where you can't take the knights, and they're the only piece you're not allowed to take. It feels like this is a variant that we're playing over the board here, but unfortunately, the bluffing's not going to work.
Yeah, knights, I mean, they have been godlike in this game, doing all the forking. And look at that, they're just gobbling up pawns. You can step this one forward. I think that's what he's going to try and do. Try to go for broke. If the white pawn reaches this square, it's actually checkmate. But the problem is black in the process will be sacrificing back some of that extra material just to win some of those white pawns. This is just game over. This is a huge material imbalance that you cannot come back from. Theodoru shaking his head.
It's looking hopeless for the Greek Grandmaster with a bull in the background. He's played fantastic today. He is one of 3 players in the lead heading into round 8, but it looks like the fantastic Hikaru Nakamura will win this game.
Yeah, Theodoru, he's been studying in the US, living there for a while now. So these two do know each other a bit. He's very, very good on the clock. But unfortunately, he won't get to a time scramble against Hikaru. He won't get that opportunity. This is a kind of semi-threat. Although black's so much material up, you probably don't mind trades. I wouldn't be shocked if Hikaru starts to push this pawn forward now for glory. Clear path through. 4 moves. New queen. Game over.
We do have Paro Magsudlo on 6.5, Renato Terry on 6.5, Magnus Carlsen, several players on 6.5. Hikaru Nakamura will go up to 7 points with a win in this game. Starting with a loss in round 1, Hikaru is now becoming a favorite to win Gameweek 8.
You can almost get away with just playing rook takes pawn and saying, I don't mind giving you the rook. I'll take the bishop back and we'll call it evens. He does give up the exchange anyway, and he's doing exactly like you said, David. He's very happy, very content to just keep pushing the d pawn and saying, look, I've got plan A over here. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, white went for plan A. There's no plan B, unfortunately. It's just all about these pawns, but that pawn will easily be captured, taken off the board by the black knight, and it is the black pawn that's going to be doing the damage here in the near future. Hikaru blockades. Look at that. All the hope remaining has been thrust onto the pawns, but the black knight's just too strong now. Any moment now we'll see a result. Theodoru can't battle on much longer.
Impressive stuff from Hikaru Nakamura. What a comeback after losing in round 1. He is definitely back. He's fighting to win Game week 8, he didn't play game week 7. He was traveling, but he is back and he is in form.
Yeah. White is actually a rook and a knight down right now, just for 2 pawns. It's now a rook and 2 knights as we see the final pawn recaptured. Theodoru continues playing. Wow, he's up against a knight and a bishop. His pawns are so far from promotion. The Black King's easily going to stop them. Very surprised he's playing, but he's going for the flag. He's down 30 seconds, but he wants to win on time, Theodoru.
Denis Lazovic has gone up to 7 points. Paramaxodlu finished with the win. He is now on 7.5 points. Hikaru will not be in the lead with a win here, but he will be half a point behind Paramaxodlu. Mate in 9 for Hikaru. And there it is. It's another win for Hikaru Nakamura. He's on a roll. And he wins this game to go up to 7 points. A loss for Theodoro, who's played fantastic today, but he is stuck on 6.5 points. Look at that. Maxodlo on 7.5 points after 8 rounds. 3 players now on 7 points. Minle, Lazovic, and Hikaru. A bunch of players on 6.5. Who still has a chance with 3 rounds to go, David, to win game week 8?
Yeah, I think anyone below 6.5 now is pretty much out of the running.
Yeah.
I think with 3 rounds to go, 1.5 points down, even if you win everything and have good tie breaks, I think it's too much of a long shot. Pakun 6.5 need to hope someone takes down Magzudli, and then it's open.
Yeah, look at that. We are waiting for round 8 to round up. Still a couple of games happening. There will be a little break. We're going to keep talking. We're going to take a look at the action that's been happening in the last few rounds. And here it is. It's rounding up Max Udlu in sole lead. Is that a player you would be happy to see win game week 8?
Oh, very much so. I mean, we are big fans of Max Udlu here,
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say. And to an extent, his fate is in his own hands. He has everyone here, let's be honest, his title Tuesday is a monster. So he has the potential matchup against Hikaru that he has to worry about. But there's an argument to be said now that there are enough players on 7 points that Max Udlu hasn't played that if he keeps winning, he dodges Magnus.
Yeah.
I am pretty sure that's the case now. I haven't completely done all the calculations in my head, but I think that's true. So whether he wins title Tuesday now is to a greater extent in his own hands. I love it.
Yeah. We also now see Pranesh from India. Great to see an Indian flag up there on 7 points. All right, it is getting close. 3 rounds to go. Who will win game week 8?
Here we go.
A lot of action in the last few rounds. It's been up and down for many players, and we're going to take a look at an action replay. I'm actually not 100%. Oh, it's this one. Magnus Carlsen, he was much better for basically all of this game.
Yeah, and this was the key moment. Bishop takes knight would have given Magnus a winning advantage. He did not need to fear the ghosts. There was no threat really against the White King. White was actually the one threatening to checkmate the Black King in many variations there. He should have taken the knight. He would have won this game, but ultimately Dubov found a great defense now, bringing his knight, having seen it survive there, to attack the white pawns. And it turns out Magnus had no way to defend. The black bishop came out. In the near future, we later saw queen and knight trades, and this was the endgame we were left with. Knight versus bishop. And on a maybe a better day, if it weren't a battle of friends here, we might have seen some flagging, but too much mutual respect.
It did go down to the final seconds. Eventually, it was a draw between Magnus Carlsen and Daniil Dubov. There it is. Yeah. What's been the highlight for you so far today, John?
I think part of it has to be the way the show started with both Magnus and Hikaru dropping a point.
Huge drama.
The story of today hasn't been, take a look, the favorites that have won so many title Tuesdays between them are just running away with it. That absolutely isn't the case. We're looking at them catching up. We're waiting to see if either of them can make it back to joint top or even go sole lead. There's only 3 rounds left for them to do it. Hikaru only half a point behind now, very delicately poised, but his play has been anything but delicate. He has stormed his way back through the pack after that initial loss, and I'm looking forward to seeing Hikaru Maksudlu. That's what I want to see.
Let's hope that's the matchup we get in round 9, you guys. Who do you think right now, David, will win game week 8?
It's tough. I feel like I should say Magzudlu just because he's the leader. He's got the highest odds. I do have a feeling Hikaru is going to have a big role in wherever the title ends up, whether they play each other now or maybe even in the final round or later on. I wouldn't hate seeing Magnus against Hikaru for the title in the last round, but I think at this point it's going to be tough. Magnus needs a lot of things to go in his favor.
And let's be honest, for Magnus to play Hikaru for the title in the final round would also imply that Magsudlu doesn't do as well as we want him to, and we're gunning for him as well. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. But I want to see Magsudlu in with a shout. Maybe final round to decide it, but I'd like to see him be one of the players in with a shout.
Yeah. We have 3 rounds to go. Remember, every single Tuesday, 11 rounds of Title Tuesday fun. Bunch of players streaming, bunch of players getting ready for round 9. Hikaru sitting in a hotel room in St. Louis. He is there with his wife, who's playing the US Championship. Can he win it from a hotel room?
Definitely can. He's definitely capable. Hikaru, he's been here so many times before. We also see Sergei Zygalko, top left. We saw Magsudlu on the bottom right there. Yeah. And a very mysterious chair. Someone had just departed as we jumped in.
We might see the second instance today of a gaming chair successfully blitzing out the first 12 moves.
That's true. It's all about the chairs, you guys. You have to sit comfortable when you're playing Title Tuesday. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of intense chess. And we want you guys now to get ready for more action.
Rook takes rook check. It's been a blunder. It's rook and 2 pieces versus just a queen. Not just that, but the black pawn is going to win this game if white isn't careful.
Well.
Oh, and look at this. No. He's winning this early in the game. It's a blunder by Nepo. 2 seconds left for Nepo. 1 second. He's running out of time, and Elham wins on the clock.
Horrible.
Goodness.
Horrible by me.
The white knight's jumping. 5 seconds each, and suddenly he's dropped his rook. Suddenly Elham was back in the game, but only for a moment because the black pawns are too strong now. 4 seconds each. Who is going to win? Is it the rook or the bishop? A queen appears. Black needs to get rid of the white rook. That will save him, remove the danger. Quick pre-moves. Elham's removing everything, and it's a draw by stalemate.
That was a huge draw for Elham Amar playing from the Dave Cave. Since that, he has lost 2 games and won 1 game. But it's been a good day for Elham Amar. He is not one of the top players. And let's see if he can finish in form. How are you with that? If you lose a couple of games, John, are you good at getting back into it, or will you happen to tilt?
It depends on the context of the tournament. If Elham's coming into this thinking, okay, I'm not one of the favorites to win, but he's suddenly piled a lot of pressure on himself after winning the first couple of games and doing really well, sometimes losing a game or 2, if anything, means the pressure's off. Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay, I don't feel pressure to keep up with the leaders now. I can just play a bit more freely, and you end up playing better. Sometimes you go on tilt and you spiral. It's really difficult to tell. We're obviously not as familiar with Elham as some of his peers might be, for example, so I don't know which way it would go, but based on his energy, the way he was talking with his stream, his enthusiasm over the board, I'd like to think he's one of the former where, okay, the pressure's off, let's just play some really good, really fun chess and have him bounce back with a string of wins to finish.
Yeah. Here he is, Elham Amar playing from the Dave Cave. A lot of wins in the start. He's had a few losses. Magnus Carlsen, well, he lost in round 2. And then after that, it's a little bit up and down. But he is still in the fight to win game week 8. And round 9 is about to start. Look at that. We have Hikaru Nakamura against Para Magsudlu. Huge run. Magsudlu on 7.5 points. Hikaru is on 7 points, half a point behind Magsudlu with the white pieces. What a game this is going to be.
Let's go. This is what we wanted.
Yeah, bring it on. It's the 4 knights defense here, the 4 knight system where all the knights enter the game. Hikaru threw his knight into the center, and very surprising moves from Magsudlu. He plays this very safety first one, h6. Then he puts the other pawn on the other side. Very slow chess. And we see Hikaru in the meantime prepare to break out in the center. It looks like a very successful opening for Hikaru, but a bit of a weird one. Don't try this at home. Moving the knight so many times. I was going to say twice is enough. He moves that knight for a 3rd occasion. And now ready to push. I wouldn't be shocked if Magsudlu just takes this knight off the board and the play becomes much more positional.
Now, of course, taking that knight off the board means that you give white the bishop pair in the long run in exchange for those slightly annoying doubled pawns in the center of the board. I get that in the short term, the bishops aren't going to be that useful, but that's a very big long-term commitment.
Yeah, and Magsudlu chooses to go against it. I think it's just a kind of judgment call, matter of taste there. I'm normally inclined towards my bishops, so probably over the board I would have been tempted to do what Magsudlu's done. At the same time, I do also love playing against double pawns, especially when the opponent loses a lot of flexibility in the center. And we see the eval bar also yet to make up its mind, really, kind of just in the center. It now looks more like an Italian game or a Spanish opening.
David, this is interesting that the eval bar is now swinging a little bit in Hikaru's favor, and that does that mean that even if bishop takes knight is played by Magsudlu soon, it's like the moment of opportunity has passed and there's some other positional benefit that maybe I haven't appreciated?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many positional subtleties in this position. We see the play jump several turns ahead, so even more subtleties now. But I'm going to say that the knight trade, the bishop for knight trade that was kind of rejected by Magsudlu, probably ended up being a good thing because Hikaru ended up losing even more time bringing his knight over to the other side of the board.
Right.
These knights kind of cancel each other out now, and Magsudlu apparently slightly better on the board. Just in the eval bar here, he's doing well because he's undermining White's very fragile center. If you push forward, then Black would have had a queen-side majority. Instead, Black has more space. This pawn clamps down on some very important squares.
It's Hikaru versus Magsudlu. It's world number 2 against world number 36. It's USA versus Iran. And Iran is right now on top of the country leaderboard for Game Week 8. Magsudlu not only fighting to win Game Week 8 for himself, he's fighting to gain points for Iran as well. Iran showing muscles in the chess world. And can he actually win this game? He was better on the bar a few moves ago. It's back to balanced.
Both of them really locked in. I haven't watched enough of the camera to know for sure, but it does feel a little bit like Magsudlu's just a little bit more fidgety, a little bit more nervous. That said, Hikaru's not exactly head bobbing, but hang on a second, that is a big swing in Hikaru's favor, and he smells something. He's busy calculating this.
You see him lean in there. He's definitely tempted to take this pawn. It's what he's been building up towards. He's lined up his queen, his bishop on this diagonal. He says, let's go for it. And there we see a big checkmate was threatened. The knights leaping forward for White, the knights dropping back for Black. The knights had covered some squares, but it comes at the cost of the Black rook, and Hikaru now doesn't even care about his knight. He's trying to deliver a nasty killer blow with his rook. The big question is, what next after pawn takes knight? The bait has been captured. Here, I'm trying to work it out myself. Magsudlu is up a bunch of material, 3 pieces for a rook, but his king looks so out in the open. After a check, he's going to have to walk a tightrope now.
Oh, is there no... I was looking at whether there are ways to block with the knight, get the other knight out to e6. Is there a way to play rook a7? But that just looks like you're hanging on for dear life rather than trying to do anything active. So scratch that. King f7. This is... almost the definition of dicey.
It's a blunder. Hikaru can give a check, deflecting away the Black knight, and then the Black queen drops. The Black queen falling would spell the end. Hikaru needs to find this move. Rook check. He doesn't find it. Hikaru Nakamura misses a free queen there. He would have had to give the rook, but that would have been game over. Hikaru now maybe sees it, but dropping the queen back, he's lost all the momentum.
Huge swings on the bar. This is a big matchup in round 9. Both of these players fighting to win Game Week 8. Magnus Carlsen is better in his game against Jeffrey Chung. Magnus needs to win to stay in the fight to win Game Week 8.
If Hikaru saw that, he's doing a very good job of keeping a poker face. He's continuously talking. I'm not really seeing any signs of big frustration. No, oh my goodness, I let that slip or anything like that. Still extremely dangerous for Magsudlu here. He's hanging on for dear life. Pawn push to f6. And by the way, that's not even the only f-pawn. And now the bishop's hanging as well.
Wow, clearance sacrifice Hikaru. He's going to get one of the pieces back. Then he's going to be attacking for free, pretty much. It's going to be a rook versus 2 knights, but White also has a couple of extra pawns. Magsudlu missed that one. Loose pieces drop off. LPDO, as Daniel Naroditsky used to say. And now that Black queen caught in no man's land, he needs to trade off, and he needs to hope that he can survive. Oh, look at that.
Lovely.
Deflection. The Black knight couldn't take the rook. It had to protect its queen. Now the rook is going behind to skewer these 2 black pieces. Can Magsudlu cling on there? He might be taking this pawn to counterattack against White's bishop. This is hanging in the balance now. If Hikaru finds the right moves, he's winning. If not, game on.
He has 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock. There is no increment in Title Tuesdays. Hikaru Nakamura is massively better. Magsudlu ticking under 2 minutes now.
Oh, that was the key move. He needed to go this way, not the other way. He's hitting this knight. No matter how it's defended, he's going to take this knight and use his other rook to fork 2 pieces.
I was looking at the other knight coming into d7, and it doesn't work because you play rook takes knight and the other one comes in. So instead, we have the king coming in, but the exact same thing happens.
LPDO, loose pieces drop off. And this is going to end disastrously for Magsudlu, who's going to be 2 pawns down once the dust settles. It's a check. And there we go. Rook and bishop versus rook and knight. But these 2 pawns, G and H, are going to run forward in the near future.
Hikaru Nakamura, after losing in round 1, here he is about to take the lead in Game Week 8 after 9 rounds.
Yeah, it's really nice to see Hikaru kind of go back to his attacking roots. He was such an attacking player when he kind of first broke onto the scene. These days, much more positional, loves his endgames, loves his grinds, but this game he's been sacrificing for fun.
Like, well, look at his body language and the way he's sort of chilling out and smiling. He's probably discussing what Magnus is drinking out of, for all we know, but he is not worried about the outcome of this chess game, that is for sure.
Yeah, and for Magsudlu, he always seems to be leading tournaments, the Grand Swiss over the board events, these Title Tuesdays now, but it's hard to hang with the top guys for a full 11 rounds. The cream seems to rise to the top, and here we go, 2 squares away from touchdown. The black rook has to drop back, but there's another pawn in reserve.
Pranash, the Indian youngster, has gone up to 8 points, and that is what Hikaru is fighting for, to join him on 8 points.
And here we see often the top players, they do go active with their king when they're seeking this last hurrah. They're seeking some counterplay. That white bishop is almost trapped. As we see 1 black pawn remaining, he's going to try and push that one forward. He needs a few more moves, though. Hikaru just trying to figure out how to do this most safely, most professionally.
And if there's a way to do this with, using the time to your advantage, that's great. But Hikaru's up on the clock as well. 1 minute and 2, plays 32. Paha Magsudlu, you can see he's, if I'm honest, looking a little bit despondent. He's not fidgeting. He's not nervous. This is like the time for that is gone, unfortunately. And right now he is coming to terms with what will be a loss. It is not over yet. Hikaru was half a point behind. He is about to be half a point ahead, and he has lost games in this Title Tuesday. But Magsudlu is going to be disappointed with the loss of momentum here.
Magnus Carlsen is on 7.5 points. He beat Jeffrey Strong here in round 9. Magnus will be half a point behind Hikaru if Hikaru is able to win this. And there it is. It's another win for Hikaru Nakamura. Wow, he is on a roll. And he takes the lead in Title Tuesday. We're jumping into this one still. Round 9, Lazovic with the black pieces against Muradi.
Wow, he's totally winning here. It's a queen for 2 rooks, but black has so many pawns. He could have also tried to take the bishop. The clock, though, 10 seconds, it's gone red. Can Muradli here survive the checkmate threats? The black queen coming across to one of these 2 squares might just end it. It gives up one of the rooks now just to get rid of the black knight. But this is over. Queen check, forcing the king to the corner. And then a checkmate will be the end of this game unless white sheds a bunch of material. Rook versus queen and knight. 6 seconds should be enough for Denis Lazovic, who's about to make a second queen. He can pre-move here. 3 seconds, though. He wins the white rook. He wins the white pawn. 2 seconds. That's a race against time. He needs to pre-move this. No time each. And there we go. It's checkmate to end this game.
With 2 seconds left on the clock, Denis Lazovic takes it. He joins Hikaru and Pranesh on 8 points. We have 3 players in shared lead with only 2 rounds to go. And we have 5 players, half a point behind them. What a finish we're going to see to Game Week 8.
I don't want to hit a player while they're down, but let's talk about loss of momentum here. What are the odds that Magsudlu has played Hikaru and now his reward for losing that game
is Magnus?
I mean, I don't know. It's probable, but it's certainly possible. That would be rough.
And it's not going to happen. It's Hikaru against Pranesh, and then it's Lazovic against Magnus. Magsudlu faces Theodoro, but wow. Which one do we want to follow?
Oh, those are all so good.
Yeah, I agree with this one. Lazovic with the white pieces coming from a win in Time Scramble against Magnus Carlsen, who finished many minutes ago. He's had a little bit of a break. Here we go.
Here we go. It's the English opening. Lazovic, he's been a lifelong Catalan opening player. So the fact that he's switching up his repertoire against Magnus, very interesting. He knows that he might need to win Lazovic. He's got one final white. He'll most likely have black in the last round, maybe against the likes of Hikaru. So you might as well try and get this point. So the English opening, the white knights dancing. There is the option of taking this bishop off. Magnus is playing very provocative stuff here. Engines like white because they like the bishop pair, but that does open up the black rook on the A file here. So I wouldn't be shocked if Lazovic holds off on that decision for a bit longer. Very interesting. Magnus is the king of the English opening, so to play it against him, very brave from Denis Lazovic.
Denis Lazovic on 8 points, Magnus Carlsen on 7.5 points. This is round 10, the second to last round. After 11 rounds, we will know who is the winner of Game Week 8. Magnus Carlsen won Game Week 7. He's won 3 game weeks so far in the autumn split. Can he win another one? It's going to be hard. He's half a point behind. He needs to win this game.
He's going to feel like it's must win. The good thing we can say about that is, conveniently, he's Magnus Carlsen. So in a must-win scenario, he usually is able to find some sort of tiny imbalance to really grind things out into the end game and turn what would be an infinitesimal advantage into a win. But ideally, in this sort of time control, in this sort of format, you want to be one over the board in 30 moves, if not less. The problem is he's going up against a very informed Lazovic, who I don't want to take any credit away from him, has played phenomenal chess today.
Yeah, Denis Lazovic, every time I watch him, so calm, so composed, very deep positional understanding. Not many people can match Magnus on that front, but Denis has the potential here. He actually locks the center and now breaks on the queen side. The white pawns are very nicely placed. They take a lot of space, and opening up the A file is going to potentially lead to infiltration in the long term. Black has a pawn majority, a little bit extra space, at least on the other flank. I wouldn't be surprised if Magnus moves this knight out of the way first and then starts throwing his pawns forward towards Denis Lazovic's king. But it's going to be a long, grindy game now with the blocked pawn structure in the center.
Hikaru Nakamura is playing against Pranesh here in round 10. The eval bar is saying balanced in that game. Early days, of course.
Yeah, and for Magnus, it's a must-win. For Hikaru, he might feel like it's a must-win. His tie breaks, due to the fact Hikaru lost in round 1, Magnus lost in round 2, their tie breaks are terrible. They played lower-rated opposition, therefore the sum of their overall opponent's scores will be lower. So they know they need to finish on top of their score group in order to, or be the only ones in their score group in order to win the top prizes. As we see a bit of maneuvering now, a very odd queen retreat by Denis Lazovic. Maybe he's going to be dropping his knight back to try and trade off these bishops. A bit awkward on that diagonal.
Lots of must-wins here. Denis Lazovic and Magnus Carlsen both going to be feeling like this is a little bit of a must-win situation, but also Maksudli Theodoru as well, just behind them on board 3. A win for either player there might give them a shot at winning all of the marbles. So the last thing either player wants to do on the board immediately behind Magnus and Hikaru, neither player wants to draw. And I think that just adds a little bit of extra spice to this round 10.
I agree.
Yeah, and just the board below this one, it's just the craziest, wildest position I've seen in ages. But let's focus here as Magnus pushes his pawn forward to attack that knight, which was forced to retreat. Magnus now has a beautiful knight in the middle of the board. Can be chopped off, but what remains will be one very passive white knight versus a very decent black knight that could jump forward. So I'm starting to like Magnus Carlsen's chances. Denis Lazovic, I was going to say, had to do something very energetic, and he has done so. He trades off. Magnus retreats. A bit of an odd decision. But he does have a backward pawn to play against. This pawn is a weakness long term.
Denis Lazovic is number 4 on the Chess.com Blitz leaderboard. Magnus Carlsen is number 1. It keeps shifting between Magnus and Hikaru, that number 1 spot. But currently Magnus is the number 1. Can he be number 1 in Game Week 8 as well and win Title Tuesday? He needs a win in this game. They are quite equal on the clock so far.
They do say don't trade queens against Magnus. He even said it himself last week. So I do feel Denis Lazovic should keep the queens on, dodge the queen trade, protect his knight, and seek his chances there. If you take the queens off, Magnus would have got a beautiful knight in the center of the board. He does keep the queens on. You don't win against Magnus in an endgame. It's that simple.
Pranesh is much better on the eval bar against Hikaru Nakamura. Pranesh with the black pieces in that game. Very important game happening there as well. We keep an eye on everything here.
Yeah, this just feels like the title could be decided in the next few moves on all the boards. They look like there will be decisive results. This bishop is hit. The black knight is threatening to jump into the center. Denis Lazovic probably should be taking this knight off the board, but it's so hard to part with such a beautiful bishop on the long diagonal. 30 seconds up as well, Magnus. He's doing Magnus things slightly better. Beautiful squares. It's going to be hard for Denis to hold this now.
Even if the bar is roughly in the middle, it's just Magnus being Magnus. Is that why you say that?
It's Magnus's type of position. It's very positional, and he's got a time advantage, and it's the trend of the game. Denis had a great opening, a bit more space. That's changed. That's turned around. And Denis now is left with some problem pieces on the edge of the board.
Magnus is streaming. Let's hear if he's talking. He was moving his mouth, and when
think I'll actually
there we go.
Knight c5 is coming, then f4. Looks very promising. So I am giving myself an isolated pawn, but I'm also eyeing some very juicy squares. F7 maybe? Yeah.
Talking about some juicy squares. He's very focused now, Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, the juicy square is where the black knight currently sits. It's kind of an outpost here because it cannot be challenged by the white pawns, and it's actually helped by the fact that this black pawn is doubled on an isolated square. There's no way of challenging the knight. This one is a target. The black rooks are going to line up, double up against a second target, and it's the theme of two weaknesses. One weakness might not be enough to overwhelm the opponent, but if you can tip them over here, it's going to be very hard for the white rooks to coordinate and defend all the weak pawns. Then Magnus might just, well, get a decisive advantage. It's so difficult that Denis is burning all of his time on this one move.
Down to 1 minute on his clock. That's dramatic for young Denis Lazovic against the best player in the world.
Oh, big moment. The problem with taking this
G5?
pawn now,
G5.
And the knight fork. The knight's attacked two rooks there. It wins one of them. John, that was a hard one to dodge for white.
It was. I was sat there 2 moves in advance going, oh, that square on d3 looks so juicy. There are about 5 different ways we can try and set something up. And indeed he did. The game is still not over, but Magnus now looking like he is poised to go up to 8.5 points. A minute 30, plays 50.
Ooh.
That is just the build-up. That wasn't a one-move blunder by Denis Lazovic. Magnus has been building that advantage move by move by move. Look at that beautiful black king in the center. King of the hill, cannot be challenged. No danger of it being checkmated, and infiltration now. The black rook was the one that got the A-file. We talked about it earlier. The white rook wanted to use that line, but now the rook is going behind. Easy targets. Denis Lazovic desperately trying to throw some pawns forward, but this black pawn now 3 squares away. This is pretty much game over. White's knight looks pretty, but not doing anything.
And speaking of game over, Maksudlu beat Theodoru to keep his hopes alive. It will all come down to the final round.
Magsudlu on 8.5 points. If Magnus Carlsen wins him, he will join Magsudlu on 8.5. But Hikaru Nakamura has been able to turn the game against Pranesh. He is now massively better. And will go up to 9 points if he wins that game.
Oh, and that looks like a Hikaru type of position as well. Are we on a collision course, Magnus, Hikaru?
You said it.
It's getting closer. You said it first, I think.
One more round to go after this one in game week 8. Will we see Magnus Hikaru? Magsudlu is also up there fighting to win game week 8. Magnus Carlsen is fighting to win this game, and it's looking very good.
It's looking very good. He's parting with a lot of his pawns, Magnus, so he's playing a bit of a high-risk strategy, but easy to take risk when you've got a pawn like this one, just 1 square away now. The knight is jumping. He's just got to avoid all these forks. That's why Magnus has been burning some time. And look, that beautiful rook takes rook would have been met by a check. Magnus about to make a new queen wins.
There it is. It's a win for Magnus Carlsen. Jumping straight into this. Still round 10. And Hikaru is massively better.
Yeah, 4 versus 1. It's as simple as counting the pawns here. Shows he should be winning Hikaru. He might even give up some of his pawns in order to guarantee that 1 or 2 of them run through. Pranesh trying to play on the time, on the clock. But he's not going to stop these two. The white rook cuts off the black king. The white king hides, and the 2 pawns hold each other's hands to march forward.
Hikaru Nakamura about to take sole lead. He lost in round 1, and here he is, probably heading into round 11. There it is, a win for Hikaru. He is heading into the final round on 9 points. He will be in the lead, Hikaru Nakamura. What a comeback by Hikaru after that round 1 loss.
The question was, who was going to come back first, I think. And
Yeah.
I believe Magnus might have dropped half a point en route to this point. That was to Dubov earlier. So, yeah, Hikaru winning goodness knows how many games in a row. I think it was 8.
Yeah.
And now he is poised to potentially win Title Tuesday.
Look at that. Hikaru Nakamura on 9 points. One more round.
And it's Hikaru versus Magnus. Hikaru has already played Matsudlu.
Ooh.
It's a
It's got to
guaranteed
be.
pairing. It was
Can you
always
believe
meant
it?
to be.
We are probably going to see Hikaru Nakamura versus Magnus Carlsen in the 11th and final round. The winner of that game will probably be the winner of game week 8. Matsudlu is also in the mix there, fighting to win it. And with his tiebreaks, if he wins his round 11 game,
Ooh.
Let me throw this in. Hikaru plays Magnus. They draw. Matsudlu wins. Clear first.
yeah, exactly. That's easiest.
If Magnus wins and Matsudlu wins, Matsudlu wins.
Should have better
Tiebreak.
tiebreaks.
Yeah.
He does. So this might be a must-win for Hikaru. It's definitely a must-win for Matsudlu. Magnus, you have to... everyone's in a must-win.
Everyone's in the must win. And there it is. We have it on paper. It's going to be Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces against Hikaru Nakamura in round 11. Matsudlu plays Lazovic.
And that's big as well. Matsudlu with the white pieces, but Lazovic has played so well today. That's going to be one to watch. All to play for.
Drama going all the way into the final round. This is Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces. He's up against his biggest rival, Hikaru Nakamura. Who will win it? Who will win game week 8? What are we seeing on this board?
Yeah, it's early days. It's the Italian game. Magnus trying to keep as many pieces on the board as possible. These two have fought in so many of these E4, E5 openings. So many Spanishes over the years. So many Italians over the years. And Matsudlu watching this game, I was going to say. He's busy himself. But Magnus, he's just trying to keep the tension and try to build in the center now. This is going to be fascinating. It's all about the tension. The Swiss Gambit, ladies and gentlemen, is real. Losing round 1 does give you an easier path, but you always end up against the best at the end.
Is it analogous to when you're a French super GM and you go down a pawn and you're just destined to struggle, but then you win in the end?
The French
This is
symbol
like
of suffering.
Exactly. This is like the tournament equivalent of the same thing. And I love the facial expressions from these guys as well. I know that it's El Clasico, but there is a part of me that wants to call this matchup, oh, not you again.
Likely. Deja vu.
Magnus Carlsen is fighting to win Title Tuesday in the autumn split for the 4th time. He won in game week 7. Hikaru Nakamura is fighting to win it for the 2nd time in the autumn split, but for the 107th time, Hikaru has won Title Tuesday 106 times.
Oh,
Just incredible
Yeah.
numbers. The consistency with these two is another level. Like, we've seen some dominant chess players in chess, like, kind of throughout history, but these two, just how they keep doing it, it's very, very impressive. It's like other sports, just day in, day out, they're training, playing, and they always seem to end up against each other at the end. Magnus, in the meantime, with a very nice position, a bit more space, also with a better bishop. Black's bishop, a bit of a problem piece, but it's a King's Indian pawn structure now, which Hikaru Nakamura is known to love. Long way ahead.
Matsudlu better on the bar against Lazovic in that huge game on 9 points.
Which makes this even more of a must-win. I mean, it must win for everyone anyway, but that is very, very exciting. That said, this is Blitz. There is no increment, and the bar doesn't lie, but the bar changes very, very quickly. So it is early days on both boards. Magnus Hikaru on board 1, Matsudlu Lazovic on board 2. And, well, we're playing for 3 results, but what I mean by 3 results here is that 3 different players could end up on the top step.
Yep.
Yeah. And I just can't predict who it's going to be. All I know is that if it comes down to flagging, these two will not hesitate to go at each other, to try and be ruthless. The prize on the line. Magnus's queen nearly got trapped, so he brought it back. Magnus is now playing for this pawn break. He wants to play on the queen side, And Hikaru is playing for the opposite pawn break on the other flank. This is a fascinating position. It's a bit of a standoff, but whoever gets that break in first is going to be the favorite in this game.
Wherever you guys are watching this, whatever channel you're following, please share in the chat. Who are you rooting for? Who do you hope wins Game Week 8? Magnus, Hikaru, Magsudlu. Send your love.
Positional question, David. I'm guessing c5 is not an appropriate response for black because you take en passant and then d6 is just too weak in the longer term?
Yeah, it did cross my mind. One of the c-pawn pushes, c6, c5. I don't think it's the end of the world because you get some targets of your own.
Okay.
I think that's why Hikaru hesitated. He wasn't ready yet to break out on this flank, especially with the white knights so perfectly poised.
Yep.
But he was deciding, do I react? Traditional wisdom says you don't play on the side that you're weaker. But and there, Hikaru is definitely weaker. White has more space. But it was a bit tempting. And now he's going all in on a pawn storm. Watch out. This knight is about to get hit. The other one's been kicked backwards. It's all the pawn chains. Connect 4, my favorite pawn structure, versus White's about to be connect structure. But for now, he holds up the black pawn chain. This is so delicately poised. Computers prefer White because White has a bit more central space. But watch out, it's so easy to play black's position long term.
And they're equal on the clock.
Mm-hmm. The knights have really obvious squares to jump into as well. G6 and F6 to begin with. The pawn storm can continue. Okay, King H8, Rook G8. We're starting to slow down a little bit. But the next 2-3 moves, if you said, black's attacking, what do you play? You can't quite pre-move, but you know in some sequence what your next 3 or 4 moves are likely to be.
Exactly. And for White, Magnus, it's not so clear. He cannot punch through with his break. That square is too well covered for now. Hikaru doesn't go kingside yet. I think he's trying to distract Magnus here a bit. He might even offer a queen trade at the right moment. He might even offer it now. But
against Magnus?
Yeah, I was going to say, that one is not completely safe, especially against Magnus.
This is round 11, the final round in Game Week 8. Magnus and Hikaru, they are fighting to win it, but there is one more player in the mix. His name is Magsudlu, and he is now massively better in his final game against Lazovic.
Wow, what a twist. He's going to put pressure on both of these two players. Actually, if Magsudlu wins, it's going to be very hard for Magnus. He'll need a miracle on the tie breaks. A light has gone out in Hikaru's room, meanwhile. He had to step out to step up for a second just to turn that back on. But have the lights gone out on his attack? That's the big question. Can he still push through his pawns to try and go for Magnus's king?
I knew he sold his soul to get to 3,300, and I feel like that light going out is definitive proof.
Yeah, wow, what a crazy scenario we have here in the tournament and on the board. Hikaru is just totally locked down this square, by the way, with his bishop, with his pawns. He's just trying to prevent Magnus from breaking through. And Magnus's knight, meanwhile, has done the same on the other side of the board. This is the pawn break for black. White has clamped down on that one with his pawns and his knight. So it's a bit of a standoff. Hikaru, I wonder whether he's aware that he might need to win to surpass Magsudlu here, because he's playing rock-solid chess. That might not be enough. Rook trade, and he's going to go with his pawns. We're going to see, finally, full chaos, full tension here. Key moment, this would trap the white knight, so Magnus has to trade off, and Hikaru wants to take this pawn, but can he take this pawn is the question, because the white queen will sidestep, and there's a skewer on the diagonal. Some weird angles here. The white queen will step across, and this black knight is the big target. Again, those loose pieces. Hikaru goes for the other pawn instead. Or anything could happen here, despite the limited material, especially with queens on the board.
Makes sense. Didn't want to have to deal with all the complications with the queen and the skewer, so choosing to go the other way instead. Very, very sensible decision making. A little bit up on the clock as well. Minute 40 plays a minute 30. Both players so fast that that's not going to be decisive at this point of the game. And a quick retreat with the knight as well. I want to know where black's queen is going to position itself for this attack. That, for me, is the question mark.
Yeah, very interesting maneuver there. Sometimes in life and in chess, you have to go back in order to go forward, and Hikaru is trying to bring his other knight in to attack this one. Now there's a queen, there's an avenue for the queen. There we go, John. The first question has been answered. This probably isn't the destination, the final one for the queen, but it's a start.
Knight F7.
Yeah.
And it is a win for Magsudlu. It is a win for
That is huge.
Magsudlu, and he goes up to 9.5 points.
Wow.
That means it is must win for Magnus Carlsen to have any hopes. if Hikaru wins, he will win Game Week 8.
Yes, so fate is in Hikaru's hands right now. If he is able to win on command with the black pieces here, although I have to say the EVAP bar did not like that, and what was a potentially much better position is now almost devastatingly equal.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be decided on the clock. It's so balanced. Hikaru blocks up that flank. Now, this pawn chain I was talking about earlier looks beautiful for white, but slightly vulnerable. Those light squared pawns hard to defend. The black squared pawns block in black's bishop. That is a bad bishop, but at least they are easily holdable. And it's just hard for either side to improve the position. Magnus might have to gamble at some point and take this pawn, but it will come at the cost of his own center as Hikaru tries to break in round the back. Stopped. 50 seconds against 50 seconds.
Wow.
All bets are off now.
All right, bishop f8 to h6 to g5 to h4. And actually, I don't even know what it's accomplishing there. But really, this is unbelievably tense. The knight goes. The pawn has disappeared off of e4. And that pawn is sufficiently strong that there is a lot of comp and a lot of play here. Very interesting play.
Fascinating position. Magnus grimacing there. He might be forced at some point to trade the queens off at the cost of a pawn if the attack is too strong. But for now, he gets some checks of his own. Magnus might need to bail out. Black's pawn is so powerful. He can give some checks to Magnus Carlsen if he wants and force a draw, but it's not enough for him. It's not enough for either of them. But playing on will just end in disaster. Black is threatening to make a new queen. You cannot fight that for much longer. Is it going to be a draw? Are we going to see this game end and neither side be happy? It is a draw.
Wow, it's a draw.
Unless Param somehow... Well, Param has a better tiebreak, so maybe we both miss out by that. But yeah, I mean...
It's an for Magnus Carlsen. He is not going to win Game Week 8, and it doesn't look like Hikaru will as well. On the standings right now, it does say Param Magsudlu is the winner of Title Tuesday Game Week 8. And that's amazing for him.
He had to win on command against Lazovic in the final round after losing to Hikaru. So he wins it by the skin of his teeth, but Param Magsudlu manages to do it. It couldn't have happened to a nicer player, let's be honest.
Exactly, yeah. He is one of those players that you just feel like he deserves it.
Such a nice guy, so popular. I questioned it earlier. After he lost to Hikaru, can he maintain it to the bitter end? Yeah. But he went on a winning streak after that, won his last couple of games. And yeah, we're waiting for official confirmation. But once we get it, congratulations, Magsudlu. Such a passionate player. I've been there seeing him ask Magnus for advice in person. How can I become world champion? What can I do? He's put in the physical training, the chess training lately. And yeah, this is just the beginning.
Amazing stuff. Param Magsudlu from Iran. He wins Title Tuesday Game Week 8. He's played every single game week in the autumn split. And here he is. He finally wins it. He wins it for the 13th time in history. A fantastic result for him. And he does it with Magnus and Hikaru on the places behind him. Wow. Wow. He must be so happy.
His goal is to play chess on the biggest stages. He's now got maximum points towards potentially qualifying for the Esports World Cup next year. He is focused on the World Championship, focused on, well, $1.5 million at the Esports World Cup.
Yep.
Not a bad chunk of change, let's be honest. And he's played some absolutely magnificent chess. Was there a blot on his copybook? Sure, that game against Hikaru was very double-edged at times, though, and it could have gone either way. All in all, fantastic game week from Param Magsudlu.
Yeah, definitely. He scores 10 points on the Champions Chess Tour standings with this win. And look at that. He also helps Iran to win the country standings today, you guys. Amazing stuff. Iran is really showing muscles in the top of chess. We hope to get an interview and a comment from Param Magsudlu after this amazing win. We also hope to get Magnus Carlsen into the studio to chat to him. It's been, it's been a dramatic Title Tuesday day with both Magnus and Hikaru losing in the first few rounds, making massive comebacks, fighting to win it. But eventually, Param Magsudlu is the one to take Game Week 8. All right. Whew. This one had a lot of drama, David.
A lot of drama. I love the fact you pointed out Iran. There's 4 Iranians on the top 20. All of them, I think Magsudlu is the oldest by a mile, which is very good news for Iranian chess. Yeah. The rest teenagers. And Yeah, so much drama. Magnus not even coming third. He's been pushed down to fourth on tiebreak.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's had everything this week.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Magnus Carlsen was in a rush after today's Title Tuesday, and he had to leave the building, so we will not get a comment from Magnus, but still hoping to get a comment from Max Ulu, and also Hikaru Nakamura. That would be really nice to talk to him as well.
We need a portable mic for these situations where someone can just run after
Yes.
Magnus as he's getting on his bike. Quick, give us a quick word.
Exactly.
One of these days it's going to happen. I mean, what's the wireless range on one of these things these days? You have a couple of repeaters in the office. I reckon we could make that work.
Yeah. Like a speed interview.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just get a quick question or two as he's racing down the stairs. He's very fit, of course, so you'd have to properly race to catch up with him. But I reckon you get a question or two out of him.
And I am now getting a message that Hikaru will be joining us for an interview. We're really looking forward to that. The technical stuff just getting ready for that, but we will be joined by Hikaru Nakamura, who takes second place today, but on the same score as Param Maksudlu after losing in round one. Huge comeback by Hikaru Nakamura. Do you think he even bothers after losing in round one? Do you think he's just super confident that he's going to come back?
We have seen, and many people have seen over the years, Hikaru getting frustrated or flustered, and then you can sort of see the nervous energy rise where he's playing with a lot more energy, but he's almost angrier over the chessboard. We didn't see that today. The entire time he was streaming, he was very jovial, very lighthearted, very chilled out. He got into a couple of difficult positions where he sat there thinking rather than be frustrated. And then when the positions improved, he was super relaxed about it. And I feel like we saw a Hikaru today that was a huge force to be reckoned with. I'm looking for the psychological weakness, the chink in the armor. I'm not seeing it.
Amazing day for Hikaru Nakamura, but even more amazing for Param Maksudlu. And we're joined by Param. Congratulations on winning Title Tuesday, Game Week 8. Waiting for Param Maksudlu to get ready for that interview. Param, can you hear me? Congratulations on winning Game Week 8.
Thank you so much. It was the first time I won the Title Tuesday in this format, and in the previous format I won a lot because normally I enjoy more to play with increment, but this one was a bit tough. And also in Iran, mostly I didn't have a good connection, and I was not getting paired or something like this, and I was missing my chances. And luckily, I played in Greece this time. I'm playing European.
Okay, I can't hear anything. Just for anybody who's wondering.
So I had a good internet, and also I played, I think, in a very good format.
I can't hear anything, boys. I can't.
Really interesting stuff. Parham, congratulations once again. Talk to me about how you're approaching Title Tuesday differently with no increment. Is it purely down to connection and speed and having that time in the bank? Or is there any other aspect of your game that you're also changing because the way Title Tuesday has changed?
I think it's really about speed. Speed is the most important thing. I think the most important thing is just to play very quick and just don't blunder anything. So, okay, like today, my opponents, when they were getting time trouble, they made so many mistakes, which normally they never do. So, yeah, I was playing very fast and just keep the position equal and balance. And in time trouble, they made mistakes. So I think it's very, very important to play as fast as possible. Yeah, also I was playing today before the Title Tuesday. I had classical game in European Club Cup.
Wow.
Yep.
And I was lucky that my opponent resigned just on time. So
We are very happy that happened, Param. You win it today with also Magnus and Hikaru right behind you. They're in top form. They're playing some fantastic chess. We know that you are also fighting so hard to qualify for candidates next year. What does a win like this mean to you?
hey, it means a lot. Actually, I'm working so hard for the FIDE World Cup, and I know that Grand Swiss, it was a very big miss opportunity by me, but I will try the best in World Cup, and I think now I like my form and how I'm playing. Also, when Hikaru and Magnus is playing, winning title Tuesday is very special. Okay, I was probably lucky that I didn't play against Magnus, but I love to play against him, so I don't care. But yeah, in general, I like my shape, and I hope I can do my best in World Cup.
Fantastic. Parm, we wish you best of luck in World Cup, and huge congratulations on your big win today. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and at the end I wanted to give this trophy, like, okay, not it's not like the biggest trophy, but I wanted to give him to Dania, and he may rest in peace.
Thank you for saying that, Param Magsudlu. That's beautiful. Thank you for joining us. And we are also joined by Hikaru Nakamura. I'll say first, congratulations with second place and a huge comeback today after that loss in the first round. How are you, Hikaru?
Yeah, I mean, from a tournament standpoint, I'm very happy. Obviously, the first game was a complete disaster, but after that, I played pretty well. There were a couple games that were very tricky, but I think I was very good when I was low on time, unlike most circumstances. But mostly, it was just it's fun to kind of play and just enjoy what chess should be. So overall, I'm pleased.
Fantastic. What was the highlight for you today? What did you enjoy the most? Which game?
I don't think there was a specific game that I enjoyed. I think what I would say is this opening that I played. I think it's a version of the Belgrade Gambit with this knight c3, knight f3, and knight d5. In the chess champion, I feel like it was already like 4 or 5 months ago. Daniel Naroditzki was playing this pretty much every game. He played against Hans Niemann. He played against Vladislav Artemiev. So all the games I had the opportunity to play that really made me happy. But actually, now that you mentioned it, the game against Parham has to be the top, just because that was a very sacrificial game in the spirit of Daniel Naroditsky. So that game was a lot of fun specifically.
Yeah, Hikaru, it's been a very difficult day, I know, for so many of people in the chess community and the chess world after the passing of Daniel Naroditsky. Has it been difficult to focus and to play today?
Well, I mean, I think the good thing about playing Blitz, unlike, say, a long classical game, is you don't have a lot of time to let your mind wander. So from that standpoint, it wasn't particularly difficult once the tournament started, just play. But obviously the last 24 hours, I think, have been very rough for all of us who knew Daniel, whether it was just, from the outside or personally. It's quite tragic what happened. And I think that being able to play chess really just kind of, it took my mind away from what's going on. But obviously it's on my mind still, even after yesterday. And really what I would say is I just hope that people understand that words there are meanings behind words. And even if a lot of people think that it can be a joke or you can ignore certain things, there is a purpose behind them. And I think it's very important that certain people, like a former world champion, understand that instead of continuing to go on these very long and insane rants.
Yeah. It's obviously very early since the news hit the chess world, but where do you hope this takes the chess world in the future? What do you hope changes?
I mean, I think for me, what I would hope is that the chess world understands that, even if you think it's like one person or two people saying things on the internet and you can ignore it, that it's important to speak up on these issues. The situation probably never would have occurred, in my opinion, had there been more support from the top players. Obviously, we can't go back and change it, but nonetheless, I think that the top players have a certain obligation to speak up on these sorts of issues, even if it doesn't directly affect them, because as we see, the consequences can be quite tragic, if things aren't dealt with.
And Hikaru, according to Chess.com, you've played over 3,000 games against Dania on the platform alone. I was just wondering...
Oh, it's 3,000. Okay.
Yeah. I
thought it was 1,000, so okay, it's 3,000. Wow.
That's a lot of time spent with him. I was just wondering what your kind of enduring memories will be of such a incredible person.
Yeah, I mean... In terms of enduring memories, I think what I'll remember about Daniel is first and foremost his passion for the game, his love of chess. I think I said on my stream yesterday as well, but when I look at Danya, he was someone who loved to stream at any time. He was someone who was always willing to play games. You know, if I look at, say, myself or Magnus or most top other players, there are times when we're all online, we want to play, but it didn't matter what time of the day it was. Danya was always ready to play Blitz against anyone in the world. So his passion definitely is something I remember. I think also I'm going to remember just the style of play that he had, which was really, really good in no increment chess. Just a lot of sacrifices, things that in classical chess might be dubious, but he made them work. So yeah, I'm going to miss it.
Fantastic. Thank you for those words, Hikaru. Now, we are 8 game weeks into the autumn split and this new Title Tuesday format. I'm really curious to hear how you will sum it up. How is it so far with this new format and the changes to Title Tuesday?
So first and foremost, it's great that Magnus is playing because he's won quite a few of the events, so he's taken a lot of points out of the pool. From a mathematical standpoint, as everybody knows, he was the winner in EWC last year, so he's automatically qualified. So I'm very happy that he's playing every event and doing well most of the time. So that's the first thing I would say. But obviously for me, the first couple of weeks of Title Tuesday were very difficult. I don't think I adjusted very well to the time control in the format. I think that when you play a lot of 3-0 Blitz, basically everybody only plays 3-0 Blitz online, and then you have to shift to 5-0. It's quite tricky at the start. But I feel like in the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've improved tremendously. I'm back to finishing in the top 5 pretty consistently. I know I won once. I think I had a 3rd place finish or something. And obviously I finished 2nd today. So it's been pretty good. And I think for me, just the adjustment period of the first couple of weeks was difficult to get used to. But now that I'm playing quite a bit of 5-0, I like my chances.
Fantastic. Yeah, you're definitely high up on the CCT leaderboard, fighting for a spot there in next year's EWC. Now, of course, you're also banking up these games to be eligible for candidates next year. We had recent news about this Total World Championship with FIDE and Norway Chess. What is your focus going forwards now?
I mean, I think it depends on what. So first of all, yes, I'm going to play the 5 games and qualify for the candidates. That goes without saying. So I will probably start training fairly soon for that event. And I'm really looking forward to it. As far as the Total World Championship Tour goes, I think it remains to be seen. There's going to be a pilot test event, I believe, next year, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's Norway Chess or how it's all going to work. But that should be interesting to follow. In terms of the Total World Championship Tour, I think that it's going to be great in the short term for top players. It's an opportunity to make more money. I have some serious concerns about the long term and the dilution of the Classical World Chess Championship brand. But it's something different, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And I also have to ask you about World Rapid and Blitz. Are you planning to play that, or is it maybe too close to the big happening with you and your wife having a baby?
Okay, so I guess Magnus was saying no, and he said maybe. For me, the answer is no at the moment. Maybe that'll change to maybe, depending on what FIDE chooses to do or say. But at the moment, I would say there's a 5% chance of me playing. Okay. So I'm not going to be traveling halfway around the world for the holidays, especially with my wife giving birth probably about 2 or 3 weeks before that.
All right. But you're going to keep playing Title Tuesdays.
I mean, Title Tuesday is fun.
Yeah.
It's always going to be fun.
And it's fantastic to see you play. Yes. Hikaru, congratulations on your 2nd place today. And thank you so much for joining us and saying many nice words about Danya as well.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Likewise. That was Hikaru Nakamura. He finishes 2nd today in Title Tuesday Game Week 8. First place goes to Param Max Odlu. And it was very nice to hear Hikaru, an American, someone who's been very close to Danya, talk about his close friend.
I mean, there's a lot going on for Hikaru, so we really appreciate him sharing his thoughts with us and his enduring memories of Danya as well. Mm-hmm. And obviously, he has a lot to look forward to. He's preparing for the candidates, preparing to become a father. There's a lot going on, not just for him, but for many people. So it's tragic but touching at the same time, where everyone pauses and takes a moment and just remembers how fragile all the good things are. Yeah. So it's very nice.
Yeah, in all the tragicness of this and grief and sadness, and it's going to be like that for a long time for, of course, the people close to Danya, but we really are seeing a chess world coming together, and we are seeing a lot of love being spread.
Exactly, and I think anyone who knew him, anyone who came into his orbit, they knew that chess was his world and that he just wanted joy and mutual respect among everyone. And I was texting with a very close friend today who knew him even better than I did, and he said Daniel would have wanted the show to go on. And I think
100%.
It's nice to see everyone on the same page now.
Yeah, I agree. It's been one of those difficult and very different days in chess in Title Tuesday. Thank you to everyone who's been watching. Thank you to David and John who's been here and taken us through all of it. We're finally just going to take a look at the Champions Chess Tour leaderboard, of course, with Magnus Carlsen scoring some points today. He is still on top with 37 points. Hikaru now in second, shared with Alireza on 25 points. And we now see Para Maxudlo currently inside that group of players who qualifies for EWC, but still a long way to go before we know which players will play in next summer's EWC. To everyone at home, thank you so much for watching today, for following chess, for joining us in watching the best players in the world fight it out in Title Tuesday. We do send love to all of you, and especially to Daniel Naroditzki's family and close ones. We know there will be more difficult days to come, but it is very nice to see the chess world sending so much love to one another. So be kind to each other, and we'll see you again for Game Week 9 in a week. Thank you for joining us, and bye.
Oh, and look at this. He's winning this early in the game. It's a blunder by Nepo. 2 seconds left for Nepo. 1 second. He's running out of time, and Elham wins on the clock.
Horrible.
Goodness.
Horrible by me.
The White Knights jumping. 5 seconds each, and suddenly he's dropped his rook. Suddenly Elham was back in the game, but only for a moment because the black pawns are too strong now. 4 seconds each. Who is going to win? Is it the rook or the bishop? A queen appears. Black needs to get rid of the white rook. That will save him, remove the danger. Quick pre-moves. Elham's removing everything, and it's a draw by stalemate. Ooh, Dubov taking this pawn, and now Magnus only has one good move. He doesn't find it. He didn't need to take that pawn back. He could have just ignored everything and won the knight. We see it repeat, and Magnus leans back. It is a threefold repetition and a draw.
Almost.
Ooh, it's a blunder. Hikaru can give a check, deflecting away the black knight, and then the black queen drops. The black queen falling would spell the end. Hikaru needs to find this move. Rook check. He doesn't find it. Hikaru Nakamura misses a free queen there.
There it is. It's another win for Hikaru Nakamura.
Here we go.